Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance with mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast
with Luker's Land Rover. Looking to sell your Land Rover? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on League Cup semi-final weekend. Celtic v Aberdeen is the headline matchup later today. Then it's over to troubled Rangers against Motherwell tomorrow. But before all that, some big league games as St Mirren take on Ross County and St Johnstone welcome Hearts. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me as always you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
As if the week hadn't had enough drama already. Now we're going for peak pandemonium. Somebody's unbeaten run is going at Hampden this evening. Will it be Aberdeen or Celtic? Brendan Rodgers says he hasn't watched Rangers 2-1 loss to Aberdeen at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. A lot of Rangers fans wish they could say the same thing. It'll be a semi to savour in the south side of Glasgow, and the Premiership games aren't too shabby either, because Hearts' Neil Critchley lost his first game midweek to Kilmarnock at Tynecastle. He won't want to lose 2 in a row when he goes to Perth, because stocks can rise and stocks can fall. They better be careful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to today's action. Starting with the Premiership, a chance for St Mirren or Ross County to jump into the top 6, and the same chance for St Johnstone as well at home to Hearts. And St Johnston's a bit of intrigue about St Johnstone, how they're playing just now under Vallecari. It's good to watch, so can they keep that going? Hugh's right. Can Hearts get their season finally up and running? It's a tough one for Neil Critchley today. Looking down the divisions as well, good games, but the semi-final takes centre stage at 5:30. Aberdeen v Celtic, that one's going to be a cracker.
Looking forward to it, as is the lads. I think there's plenty of goals, plenty of action, plenty to talk about, and a great weekend in store.
We've been spoiled rotten, Hugh. We're talking about drama, talking points, big games, excitement. We're just going to keep going. We've got the League Cup, we've got Premiership, Europe's back around the corner. We're just coming off the back of a dramatic midweek. It's a really enjoyable time for the neutral. I don't know if every individual fan base will agree, but for us, brilliant stuff.
I like what Brendan Rodgers had to say yesterday on that subject. He said whether it's business or football, nothing gets you going like proper competition. And in Jimmy Thielen, we have someone who has come into Scottish football. Talk about hit the ground running. He's hit the ground like an Olympic sprinter. And Aberdeen fans will come to Glasgow this evening almost expecting to beat Celtic. And you have to ask yourself, if Celtic were to lose tonight, could it be considered a shock, given that Jimmy Thielen has done exactly what Celtic have done, top of the league, drawn one game, and that was against Celtic? So is it a shock?
Well, it's certainly closer than it's been for a long, long time. You'll have to go back to the semi-final last year when Jimmy Thielen wasn't around. Was it Peter Leven taking the time? And it showed when Aberdeen played to their peak with the players that they had at that time, they can challenge a very good Celtic side. Now, Celtic have come on from them, no doubt, but Aberdeen have come on leaps and bounds with a manager that holds no fear when he comes up against Celtic or Rangers. So really dangerous fixture, this one for Brendan Rodgers. We all know the importance of this first cup. Brendan Rodgers has stated many times how he values this tournament. But what an opportunity for the Aberdeen manager to really grab a hold of something special for the Aberdeen fans this evening when it kicks off.
And for the Rangers fans, Gordon, they're probably at the stage where the best thing about today's fixtures is that Rangers can't ruin their Saturday, and it has to wait potentially, albeit I'm sure they'll still be favourites against Motherwell. But it's been quite a week. Pittodrie, financial results, comments from manager and captain that they don't agree with.
They've got a massive game coming up tomorrow. They have got to win that against Motherwell. If I was Motherwell, I'd look at this fixture. Yes, I still believe Rangers are firm favourites to go through to the final. But the way Rangers are, the criticism, everything about Wednesday night, the players are coming in for it, the manager's coming in for it, the fans aren't happy. I would be having a real go at Rangers tomorrow and put them under a little bit of pressure. So it's massive for the Rangers manager. He's come out and defended himself yesterday, doesn't fear for his job. Well, if he'd lose tomorrow, let me tell you, I don't think he'd be in office on Monday.
Love this stage of the Cup though, Mark, because for the big sides it's almost expected that you then go through and make the final. And then for the smaller sides, well, you're definitely allowed to dream because you're at Hampden already, and you know that a couple of things go your way and it could be a famous season.
Yeah, and when you're saying it like that, you expect the big teams to go on and progress to the final. But looking at the two semi-finals, it's our top four, and you're looking at the points difference between them at the minute. Motherwell there sitting in 16 points, Rangers on 19. So if you're going in league form, not a lot between those sides. You cannot split Aberdeen and Celtic. So it makes for two very interesting ties across the weekend that anything can happen. So that's why we're really looking forward to it. I hope Aberdeen have a go at Celtic. I really do. I hope they don't revert back to what it was last season at some stages and sit in. I don't think they will. And I hope Motherwell have a go at Rangers, because that's what sets it up for a hugely entertaining weekend.
That is the scene set ahead of a big weekend. You can tweet us all afternoon at Clyde SSB, and of course we will open the phone lines a bit later, and we'll be back tomorrow for more. We've got 3 o'clock games to take care of, some big ones at that. What about Paisley? St Mirren against Ross County. Here's Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, it's bread and butter for us. It's the league table, it's league games here, and the table's beginning to take shape. Doesn't look like anyone's going to drop off at the bottom of the table as Livingston did last year quite early on, and with Hearts and Hibs sitting in the bottom two places, you'd expect them to climb up the table as the season goes on. So it's very tight at the bottom half of the table, and it might be like that for the remainder of the season. So St Mirren's win in midweek was much needed, 4 defeats in a row, but they came from behind to beat St Johnstone and scored 3 good goals at the same time, and they sit in 11 points, same as Ross County, and the only goal difference that separates the two teams here today. But St Mirren will be looking up the table more than looking down the way, and I think today gives them a great opportunity to get into the top 6 with Kilmarnock not playing this weekend. Stephen Robson was very down after a recent heavy defeat a couple of weeks ago against Hearts. They lost 4-0 at Tynecastle. In his post-match comments, he wasn't happy at all, but he's got the response he was looking for. A good performance at Ibrox where they could easily have sneaked a point, followed by coming from behind, as I said, against St Johnstone on Wednesday. 3 good goals in the second half, and I think that'll give them a bit of confidence. But this will be a tricky game. Ross County, many people's favourites to go down every season, but Don Cowie's built a pretty resilient squad. They seem to get results when they least expect it and just when they need it, and I saw them come from behind to beat Kilmarnock last Saturday. They weren't great for 60 minutes, but they took advantage of the 10 men and got the 3 points. They followed it up with a point against Hibs in midweek, and like St Mirren win today would see them amazingly in the top 6 with 12 games going. I think this will be a close one though. It's difficult to call, but hopefully a few goals. A bit of a crazy start. I was chatting to one of the local Inverness journalists from the Press and Journal. He was telling me that Ross County haven't won away from home since September 2023. So although it'll be tight, I don't see that change today. I think St Mirren will get the points. Just one change in the St Mirren team. It was enforced. Charles Dunn went off injured midweek, and Richard Taylor comes in. It's a like for like, so the usual 3-4-3 formation. Ellery Balcom in goals, Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Richard Taylor at the back. Elvis Buomono, Killian Phillips, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanzer in the midfield, with James Scott, Toyosi Olusanya and Greg Kiltie up front. The subs are Peter Erminski, Roland Adowu, Jonah Ayunga, Mikael Mandron, Usheen Smith, Caelan Boyd-Munce, Callum Penman, Dennis Adeniran and Connor McMenamin. And for Ross County, they made 3 changes from the team that played in midweek. Leaks injured, and Denham and surprisingly Ronan Hale dropped to the bench, and come Reid, Nisbet and Greaves. So they go with a 3-4-1-2 formation. Ross Laidlaw in goals, Akil Wright, Casper Lopata and Josh Reid at the back. James Brown, Connor Randall, Josh Nisbet and Eli Campbell in midfield, with Noah Chilvers behind the 2 strikers, Jordan White and Jack Greaves. Their substitutes: Jack Hamilton, Scott Allardyce, Ronan Hale, Alex Samuel, Eamon Brophy, Ricky Lamy, Miche Efete, Aidan Denham and Victor Laturi. And the referee today in Paisley is Don Robertson, and the VAR is John Beaton.
Quite unique, to say the least, circumstances at St Mirren. Fraser, we know obviously going back a few weeks now, Sean Rooney's left the club. There's a criminal matter there that we won't kind of speculate and worry about the details of. And again, similarly, not to get into the details, but Kevin Van Veen and Jayden Brown as well. The club announcing yesterday 2 tweets back to back about their court appearances and how they won't be available. Just in a footballing sense, how disruptive can that be, and how stressful must it be for Stephen Robinson due to the unprecedented nature of it? I'm pretty sure they don't teach you this stuff on your coaching badges.
I was going to make exactly that point. I don't think they do teach you that when you're doing your coaching badges, and these things just fall into your lap. I'm looking down the stairs at Keith Lasley, who's chatting somebody at the side of the pitch, and his hair has got even greyer, I think, in the last few weeks, given that the off-field stuff as well. And these are things that, because you're a football club, that's very high profile in the media and in newspapers, and it's difficult to deal with. But for Stephen Robinson, he's just got to get on with his games. Certainly Brown has played a number of games this season, but he's been on the bench. Van Veen hasn't really participated much as well. So on the field of play, I don't think it affects it Murn at all. But off the field, of course, having to deal with all these matters is difficult as a football club. And Stephen Robinson's certainly learning a lot. He's an experienced manager. I don't think he'll have dealt with what he's had to deal with in the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, looking forward to that one in Paisley. St Johnstone against Hearts is an interesting fixture in Perth as well. Roger Hanna's there.
Yeah, it certainly is, Gordon, and there's a man you'll be facing in the studio who will tell you honeymoons don't last forever, and I think that's what both Neil Critchley and Simo Valakari discovered in midweek. Critchley saw Hearts return to the foot of the Premiership table after a 2-1 home defeat to Kilmarnock. They've won just one game domestically since May the 11th, almost 6 months ago. Last season's Player of the Year, Lon Shankland, has only got one goal all season for club and country. And after today's game at Perth, it doesn't get any easier for Critchley. Heidenheim on Thursday night in the Conference League, then Rangers, Celtic, Cercle Bruges and Aberdeen. So they're in dire need of a result this afternoon. So too you could say Simo Valakari. He too suffered his first defeat as St Johnstone manager midweek. The 3-1 loss at St Mirren. They saw him tumble out of the top 6 down to 9th place after wins against Ross County. Dundee had provided such a promising start for the Finn. 2 changes for Valakari today. Graham Carey replaces Matt Smith in midfield, and with Lewis Nielsen unable to play against parent club Hearts and Andre Raymond still out, there's a Saints full debut for Barry Douglas, his first start in the Scottish Premiership for 11 and a half years. A 4-0 defeat for Dundee United against Celtic at Tannadice in May 2013. Since then, Barry's been at Lech Poznan in Poland twice, Konyaspor in Turkey, he's been at Wolves, Leeds United, Blackburn Rovers, but he's now at the age of 35 back into a St Johnstone back four. They go with Ross Sinclair in goal. The back four is Dre Wright, Jack Sanders, Kel Cameron and Barry Douglas. It's Jason Holt, Spence Sprangler and the recalled Graham Carey in midfield, with the new club captain Nicky Clark in behind Adamas Sidibe and Benji Kimpioka. On the bench it's Ray, Essel, Kusharai, Smith, McPake, Kirk, Kelchins, Bright and Franchak. And if Neil Critchley was looking for a little positive omen, and my goodness, Hearts need some just now, Gordon, they've won their last 6 meetings against St Johnstone, and the Saints haven't even scored in the last 4. There's 3 changes from Critchley today. Out go Forrester, Devlin and Vargas. In come Daniel Oyegoke at right back, Benny Beningame in the middle of the park, and Jan Danda will be asked to support Shanklin up top. So it's Craig Gordon in goal, the back four Daniel Oyegoke, Frankie Kent, Kai Rose and James Penrice. Benny Beningame and Malachi Boateng will anchor the midfield, with Alan Forrest, Jan Danda and Blair Spittle behind the skipper Lawrence Shanklin. On the bench, Forrest, Devlin and Vargas, Kingsley, Halkett and Wilson, Grant, Mackay and Clark. The referee is Chris Graham and the VAR at Perth is Alan Muir.
Where is Neil Critchley at, do we think? You know, Roger, it was obviously a pretty good start, probably a very good start compared to what people expected, but then that result the other night, the drop off, how crucial is this sort of period coming up for him?
I think it'll be a real learning curve for Neil Critchley. St Mirren, listen, you can only beat what's put in front of you, but Stephen Robinson said St Mirren were awful when they lost at Tynecastle to them. Ammonia and Nicosia didn't pull up many trees when they came to Gorgie either. So I wonder if that's just given Neil Critchley a sort of false impression of what he's walked into. I thought the Edinburgh Derby was low on quality. They almost lost it. They needed that late goal by young James Wilson to get a point. And having taken the lead against Kilmarnock, they were just bullied out the game on Wednesday night. Kilmarnock looked a far more streetwise, well organised, confident team than Hearts did. They've got big problems. They're back at the bottom of the league, and when you look ahead to this run of fixtures they've got after this afternoon, I think it's imperative they get something here, Gordon.
Another big one indeed. Hugh Keevins. It's Hugh Keevins, just to let everyone know how this works on radio, because you can't see us today. Just put his hand up like I'm his teacher, which is quite a thought. You may speak.
I want to address Roger Hanna. Roger, Heart and Midlothian Football Club at kick-off today are 22 points behind Celtic and Aberdeen as they reach basically 1/3 of the season gone by. 22 points, and of course Hibs are 21 points. The capital city of the country, Roger, is a shambles.
Oh, it's absolutely creaking. I mean, the performance, you've known for a while that Hibs were in trouble. David Gray really has a tough job ahead of him at Hibernian, and I think they will be in among that bottom three, scrapping for their lives for the rest of the season. Hugh, Hearts, you expected more of them. You know, they had such a good season last year in the league under Stevie Naismith. Even day one of the season, that draw at Tynecastle against Rangers, you expected they were going to kick on from there, and it has been an unmitigated catastrophe since then for Hearts. From start to finish, the run of defeats that cost Stephen Naismith his job. Neil Critchley came in after Liam Fox had presided over that European win in Azerbaijan, and after those couple of results, they haven't kicked on. The performance against Hibs, nowhere near good enough. The performance against Kilmarnock, nowhere near good enough. And you look at his side, on paper they should be top six comfortably. They are underachieving to a staggering extent, and Neil Critchley would be right to expect more of these players.
You could take your pick really for game of the day in the Championship, because there are some really attractive fixtures. We've gone for the leaders though, and a team not too far from here as well. Falkirk Morton, David Friel is there.
Yeah, Gordon, expecting another huge crowd here today at the Falkirk Stadium. I think it's fair to say the Falkirk fans are starting to dream, they're starting to think about promotion, and they will look to cement their place at the top of the Championship today. John McGlynn's side 4 points clear of second place Livingston, and they also have the chance to move 8 ahead of Ayr United in third place today, so it's a huge match for John McGlynn's side. They haven't actually lost a home league fixture for over 18 months. I think, to be honest with you, it's hard to see anything other than a Falkirk win today. John McGlynn was speaking pretty honestly this week. He did say that he wondered if people were maybe thinking that their bubble had burst when Raith beat them unexpectedly at the end of September, but they have really bounced back since. They're unbeaten in 5 games, they've won 3, drawn 2, and John McGlynn's side looks stronger than ever as they really do set the pace at the top of the Championship. It's not been easy for him. He's had to contend with injuries to key players. Cole Donaldson's still out. He's his main centre half. He's lost him since the Celtic game. Ross McKeever, Callum Morrison, both huge players last year. They've been out with injury as well, but they are both in the squad today. Falkirk beat Morton 3-2 at Capello in August. That was a great game. I think we would all take another thriller like that today. But Dougie Imrie's squad is ravaged by injury. The midweek defeat to Queen's Park left them in 8th place, 5 points off the bottom, and he doesn't have his trouble to seek. He's only been able to name 5 subs today, and he can't actually name a keeper on the bench, so I think Dougie Imrie will be praying that nothing happens to Lewis Boudinakis, because nobody at Morton knows who is going to go in if something does happen to him. Falkirk are unchanged after last week's 2-1 win over Dunfermline. That was another huge one for them. At Morton have made just one change. Ian Wilson suspended. He get sent off against Queen's Park in midweek with Grant Gillespie in as a straight swap. So I'll just run through the teams for you. Falkirk looks like a 4-2-3-1 formation. Nicky Hogarth in goals. Back 4 of Keelan Adams, Luke Graham, Liam Henderson, Leon McCann. Brad Spencer, Dylan Tate will be the holding midfielders, with Calvin Miller, Aidan Nesbitt just signed a new contract this week, and Ethan Ross in behind Gary Oliver. Subs for Falkirk are Hayward, Yates, Morrison, McKeever, Aguiman, McKenna, McCafferty and McCrone. As for Morton, again it looks like a 4-2-3-1 formation. Lewis Boudinakis in goals, Cammy Blues, Jack Baird, Kurt Broadfoot and Zach Delaney at the back, Grant Gillespie, Aaron Lyle, Owen Moffat, Niall McGinn, Michael Garrity and Philip Stuparevich on loan from Motherwell up front. 5 subs for Morton are Boys, Davis, Reynolds, Samuels and O'Boy, and the referee at the Falkirk Stadium is David Dickinson.
At this stage on a Saturday, once we've given you team news, we reflect on the biggest talking points of the week. From now until then, you can sit and try and guess what that might be. We'll discuss it next. This is a paid advertisement from BetterHelp. We're probably all guilty of not taking enough moments in our life to say thank you to someone important, someone who makes a difference. For me, of course, I've got family and friends I can speak to, but what about the family in here? As much as we get nonsense from the likes of Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel on this show, it is really important, seriously, to take a moment and realise the difference having a laugh with your friends can make and escape whatever else is going on. So I'd like to shout out to them both and all the other pundits in the show for keeping me and hopefully you entertained every night. And this month with BetterHelp, it's all about gratitude. So along with the likes of Mark and Daz, the other person we don't get to thank enough is ourselves. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself, because you're listening to the Super Scoreboard podcast. You're obviously already got pretty sound judgment. Remember to tell yourself that there are so many benefits to using BetterHelp for therapy. It's not just for people who've experienced serious trauma in their lives. There are great tips for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, and just be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. With over 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/SSB. That's betterhelp.com/SSB.
It sounds like someone's lowered prices with their Tesco Club card. Like Aero Chocolate Mousse and Nestle Milky Bar Mousse 4-packs, now £1 down from £1.90. With Tesco Club card, everyone can feel the to lower prices. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores ends 12th of November. Club card or app required.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
We have given you team news ahead of the 3 o'clock games, of course. The later games, Celtic and Aberdeen, still to come. At this stage on a Saturday, we generally reflect on the week's biggest talking points, and it is by some distance the biggest this week. Roger Hannah, Rangers' woes, and in particular those of Philippe Clement. Where is he now currently?
Well, Gordon, Philippe Clement is in the back page of the Small Leagues newspaper saying he does not fear the sack. When managers offer opinions like that, it simply confirms that the possibility of him getting the sack is very real and very now. If Rangers lose tomorrow to Motherwell in the Premier Sports Cup semi-final at Hampden, I'll do the phone in with you on Monday night and Motherwell's Andy Halliday, and believe me, I'll bring a flask and sandwiches because we will be there all night. A defeat will finish Philippe Clement. Rangers will need to quote the former chairman John Bennett, rinse and repeat again, because the performance and the result at Pittodrie on Wednesday night simply wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, David Friel, were you surprised to hear Philippe Clement say that he hasn't spoken to anyone, in the Rangers board as to even just how they feel about the fact that they're 9 points behind Aberdeen and Celtic? Does that mean this all isn't as imminent as people think it is, or is there a different explanation?
No, I mean, I don't know about the explanation. I was surprised because I think when you have a seismic defeat like that, and it was seismic in terms of the fallout after it, then I think it would be natural that Philippe Clement maybe does speak to a director or two. But just to echo what Roger was saying, Gordon, I just think it's game by game for Philippe Clement now. He's one bad domestic defeat for me away from the sack, and I would be amazed if he manages to turn things around. And I've probably changed my opinion on this over the last couple of weeks. I think even after the Kelly defeat, I was certainly of a mind that Rangers can't keep sacking managers, as Roger saying, rinse and repeat. But for me, the Aberdeen performance was alarming. And I think the majority of Rangers fans, they are realistic. I think they know this is a rebuild. They would take some short-term pain if they can see signs that the team is going in the right direction. But there's no style, there's no identity. His team selection was questionable. And then his post-match comments, for me, just took a bad situation and made it worse. So I would be stunned. He's maybe not spoken to the Rangers board in the last few days, but I'd be stunned if the Rangers board weren't looking at alternatives right now. It
does feel, Fraser Wishart, that not only can he not do the right thing in the eyes of the Rangers fans, he cannot say the right thing in the eyes of the Rangers fans.
Yeah, I felt a bit for him, I have to say, after the game, and I agree his comments were not, it wasn't the game I saw, and if that's the best Rangers have been this season, then I think they have got problems. But I did feel for him a wee bit, because he's not daft. He clearly knows that his job's under pressure. He knows the supporters are beginning to turn against him. He knows that if he gets another couple of defeats, then he could be out of a job. And 10-15 minutes later, he's asked to go out and speak to me. So I had a wee bit of sympathy for him, but I can understand why it was concerning from the Rangers supporters' angle. And that's his problem, is because when the board do turn against him, it'll be because the fans have turned against him. Fans are the ones that prompt the boards to take action. So I don't know if he'll survive a defeat tomorrow, but he certainly needs to get something done very quickly and get some results on the board, because he's under real pressure. Sometimes, Hugh, you just get an instinct, and granted, the scenario has changed. As football's gone on, people are less patient than they used to be, so accept that. But even in comparison to recent ones, if it is Michael Beale, if it is Giovanni Van Bronckhorst or any other club, is your instinct kicking in where the point of no return has been reached, or can he pull it back from here?
I think for the Rangers fans, the point of no return was reached at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. I listen to the programme every night, and the tone of the language now is becoming more and more graphic. On Wednesday, we had one man saying he is a clown.
That was before the game.
Yeah. And after the game, another Rangers supporter talking about the dross that he is watching. I had to say to you on Wednesday night after the game that, yep, I was the one who said I thought that Philippe Clement was a serious man for serious times when he arrived in this country, having left his job in Monaco. I thought he was the first realistic challenger to Brendan Rodgers in his 2 stays at Celtic Park. And then the man who was good at offering clarity after games turned into another person. The moral victory against Celtic, no such thing exists. The lap of honour at Ibrox that day, what was he thinking of? The dancing routine behind the goal at Hampden earlier in the season when he had a very mundane 2-0 win over St Johnstone. The comments he made at Pittodrie, he has ceased to be the serious man for serious times. And if we arrive at a situation tomorrow where Motherwell have knocked Rangers out of the Premier Sports Cup, then no man anywhere inside Ibrox, no man at all, can possibly put up a case for the retention of the manager.
What if that doesn't happen though, Gordon? We'll maybe get to this later. Everyone's got Motherwell odds on favourites to win because Rangers are in a bit of crisis, and you and I both know that just quite simply isn't the way it works, and there, despite all this, remains a sizable chance that Rangers win this game tomorrow. So everyone keeps saying he wouldn't survive a defeat tomorrow. Well, what if Rangers win tomorrow then? What happened? Where does he go from there?
He keeps going.
For how long?
I think he's one really major bad result away from leaving the club. You said there, can he turn it around? Any manager can turn it around, but I'm not confident in him doing it. You know, listen to him, and if he's thinking that, and I know some people say, well, he's protecting the players. No, you're not protecting the players. You're making a fool of yourself. And the players in the dressing room listen to the conversation and the interviews, must be wondering why is the manager going out and talking like that? He's putting us under severe pressure. Has he got the ability to turn it around? I'll look at his signings. Now, he touches on the other night there about they're young players and they need time, whatever. There were 6 players in that team, 26 up to 36. That's not young players, that's an experienced side. Yes, he's got 1 or 2 branded about. He's brought in summer signings. Now, he's spent something like 10 million quid, maybe a little bit more. 8 players he inherited were playing on Wednesday night. So I just look at his signings. I think everybody, they're a bore to watch. Let's not be kidded. You wouldn't pay 2 pence to go and watch Rangers just now. They're an absolute bore fest. Now, they don't know what they're doing at times. You're getting bad results against Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. I said on Tuesday night, and I couldn't. Some people gave me a bit of stick about it. I says Aberdeen are the favourites. When was the last time that ever happened to a Rangers side? So I do believe they are favourites tomorrow. I think they'll go and I think they'll get through tomorrow. But I think he's a game to game to a game. He needs to go on a good run, Gordon, and he needs to turn it round and get his signings on the pitch and start playing to a system that people understand what he's doing.
The big picture's not really moved on since we saw you Thursday, Mark, but in ways it has, because we heard from Philippe Clement again yesterday. I don't think anything he said really changed much or pleased the Rangers fans. What's your view on it all now?
Well, I think he'll win tomorrow. Obviously they're favourites, and I agree with Daz. I think they will get through tomorrow, but again, I think it's just papering over the cracks. I think when you've been here over a year, the Rangers supporters, the Rangers board must expect to see better. And I'm not just talking about results on the pitch. Of course that comes hand in hand with being at a big club like Rangers. You need results, but performances, player development, signings, coming in and improving the squad. And if you take it from this time last year, or just before Clement came in to now, are Rangers in a better place? On the pitch I'm talking about, never mind off the pitch. I don't think they are, and that would be concerning. I think he got that bounce. He spoke yesterday about the bounce and how it's possible for it to happen again and to go on a good run. However, when he came in as a new manager, the place was at rock bottom. So as a player, you always get a lift for a new manager, a new regime, a new start for some players, and he went that fantastic run. But those players that went that fantastic run have all regressed now. You look at them individually, and Tavernier's the biggest standout of the lot. I mean, he was chipping in for his manager during that period in terms of goals and performances. The Rangers captain has went backwards along with a lot of the other ones that were there, and the new signings he's brought in, how long can you bang on about them being new to this country? So again, papering over the cracks with a win against Motherwell tomorrow. It's a big decision for John Gilligan, and I think if Rangers had anybody in place in the CEO department, the decision might have been made before now.
But the players can't get away from taking a part of the blame. For me right now, it looks to me, right, and I hate saying this, it looks like players are throwing them under a bus. You see the other night there, you look at Aberdeen under this new manager, the way he's got everybody united as a football club, from the supporter, the board, to the players, to the coaching staff. Everybody's united, and he's only spent £2 million in the summer, and he's made such a difference. You see Shinnie, for instance, the desire, the hunger, the work rate, everything about it. Look at Rangers' 2 goals they conceded the other night there. It took Raskin 5 seconds before he realised, I need to get out to the wide area. Barami passes on Devlin, takes no responsibility. Devlin scores back post. The next goal, there's no desire to go with runners. The left back gets in behind them, no problem. Tavernier's standing flat footed, goes to have a go at it, it comes off the post. Who's first to react? Aberdeen players. There's something wrong inside that club just now, and it's from top to bottom. And to be honest with you, and I totally agree with the supporters, they've had enough of it. They've paid a lot of good money up and down the country. They've supported that club through and through. They deserve a bit more.
But the supporters, having had their say, and they're not having him anymore, but he is now beginning to look lost. He began to sound and look confused by it all, and the unfathomable approach to his work now, with the rotation. No team ever plays the same game,
Hugh,
one after the other.
They get back in the game the other night there. Barami scores a goal, right? He looked like the only guy up front that's got to pull them out the hole. What happens?
Takes him off.
He substitutes him. Jeffy has played every single game at left back, and I think he was coming onto a game and looking good. They go to the most important game of their season, and he comes out before a game and talks about, well, I've had a chat with the sports science. Where's the control of a manager?
See, in terms of you saying that about, I've had a chat with sports science coming out and saying that to the media, do you not think that's been a big downfall from him as well? You're saying he sounds lost, but post-match press conferences, gone back to Ibrox in the game against Celtic, gets stranger and stranger, and then trying to paint a picture that's clearly not visible to the majority of your support. Do you not think somebody should have helped him along the way with that and said, look, our fans are not stupid to the manager, and
as I say,
be
Mark,
honest.
When he came here at first, he was a model of clarity. Everyone remarked upon the way he summed games up and summed them up well. And now people are turning to look at each other and saying, I can't believe he just said
he
that.
brought in Proper, right? He brought him in for big games. He goes to Pittodrie, he's on the bench. Jeffy's played every game left back, on the bench. He subs the only guy who scores a goal. The only guy who looks like he's going to score a goal. And I like Dessers, right? I really do like Dessers. I'm probably one of the few. But he plays 80 minutes and contributes absolutely nothing to the game.
I think the biggest problem will be, and I fully accept that Motherwell are second favourites tomorrow, as they should be, given the resources that both sides have, given that we are in a National Cup semi-final. But if Stuart Kettlewell's side do win that match, there can be no set of circumstances allowable, far less imaginable, that would make Philippe Clement Rangers manager thereafter. I know they have to go to Greece, play Olympiacos in the Europa League, come back, Hearts at Ibrox, then it's the international break. But if Rangers somehow contrive to lose to Motherwell tomorrow, how can anyone of sound mind make a case for the manager staying?
The latest line that he comes out with regularly, Roger, which seems to be annoying the Rangers fans, is this notion of we can't go back to what happened in 2012. I've noticed he's just started mentioning that quite a lot. It's clearly very deliberate. It's really not washing with the Rangers fans, though.
No, it's not, and I'll tell you why it's not, Gordon. It's a completely different set of circumstances. He wasn't about it. He doesn't know the history of the situation. He has been given plenty of money by the Rangers board to spend. And yes, they've downsized in terms of wages. Out goes Connor Goldson, Kemar Roof, Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom, people like that. But in comparison to the Aberdeens, the Kilmarnocks, the Motherwells, in comparison to the St Johnstone and the Hearts that I'm watching this afternoon, he is a very rich man. And this is what rankles with Rangers fans. Jimmy Tillene comes in with a fraction of the money that Philippe Clement had lavished upon him in the summer, and has won 15 games out of 16. Philippe Clement has won 2 from 10 away from home. Motherwell have won 2 out of the last 3 in the road. Kilmarnock have won 2 out of the last 3 in the road. Dundee United, new to the league, have won 2 out of the last 3 in the road. He's only won 2 of his last 10 on the road. They've scored 2 goals in 5 away Premiership games this season. Daz used to score 2 in 5 minutes away from home. It's a pathetic effort by Rangers, and the fans can see through all of the excuses that are being laid before them.
Where do you stand, Fraser, on the statement that you hear regularly, which is based on this week's financial figures as well? Rangers cannot afford to sack the manager. Does that make sense?
Well, it depends what's in his contract. He signed a new contract at the start of the season, and quite often people think he's signed a 3 or 4 year contract. That means they've got to pay him the full amount. There'll be a notice period in that contract, maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, that the club would have to pay up. But certainly, I mean, the figures were really, really concerning during the week. And when you look at the losses that they've racked up over the last 10 years or so, the club, you know, that they're really they're surviving on loans from directors and rich fans, soft loans. So where do you go now? You can't keep going back to the well, especially when people have put a lot of money in and might want it back at some point as well. So they've got to go on. I think Roger's right, and looking at it, they've got more money than most clubs. In fact, any club except for Celtic in terms of wage bill and transfer fees as well. But it's about getting the right players in, and it's clearly that hasn't happened in the last 12 to 18 months. So he feels and he looks and he sounds like a man under
Fraser was sounding magnificent there as well. We just lost him briefly. Let's try and get that tidied up. But let's go around you all then just quickly, because if everybody is making this big bold prediction that he wouldn't survive a defeat tomorrow, relatively briefly, Roger, will Rangers win or lose that tie tomorrow?
It's a very, very good question, Gordon. I think there will be severe nervy moments tomorrow. Motherwell have been buoyed by the win at Tannadice in midweek. They've got good players who can hurt Rangers. I would not put any money on Rangers getting through to the cup final.
I would take Rangers. I think they simply have more potential match winners than Motherwell have, and good luck to Lennon Miller, captain at 18. However, that does suggest to me that Motherwell are low on resources. He's the best young player in the country, but are you telling me that an 18-year-old is their first choice to lead the team?
Well, it's not, so it's there through injury, of course. David Friel tomorrow.
I wouldn't say anything will be straightforward for Rangers, Gordon, and it wouldn't surprise me if they need extra time to see off Motherwell. They probably will just edge it, but I think it'll be very tight.
You two in the studio?
Rangers for me, but I think they're kicking the can just further down the road.
Yeah, I think Rangers will just edge it.
So you've all come on here and given me this big bold shout that he wouldn't survive a defeat tomorrow, and none of you think he'll get a defeat tomorrow. That seems like a good point to knock it on the head, because we've got big business to take care of today, first of all. But clearly the Rangers situation has been the biggest talking point of the week. We've got Premiership games, Championship fixtures, and we're edging ever closer to that semi-final between Aberdeen and Celtic this evening as well. We will go back around the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Building up to kick-off on a Saturday afternoon, or some of the kick-offs. St Johnstone against Hearts, St Mirren against Ross County in the Premiership at 3. We've got big games in the Championship and beyond. And then, of course, I suspect many of you will be setting out on your way to Hampden, depending how far you have to travel, Celtic and Aberdeen in the first of the League Cup semi-finals. You can tweet us all afternoon at Clyde SSB, especially if you're building up to that game. And of course we will open the phones a bit later. Let's go back around the grounds though, ahead of those 3 o'clock games. As we mentioned, St Mirren against Ross County. Fraser Wishart is in Paisley. Fraser, I suppose the obvious hope for Stephen Robinson would be that win the other night, because it wasn't straightforward, but that can be a real springboard going forward and try and kick on their season.
Yeah, I think it was a really important second 45. They got a wee bit of luck as well. VAR, I think, disallowed 3 goals for St Johnstone in that second half as well, and it got St Mirren back on track, because I think I said earlier, after the Hearts game and 4-0 down, I don't think I've watched an interview with Stephen Robinson where he's been so down, and he was actually talking about relegation and being at the bottom of the table. So they 1 down and possibly even 2 down, or they could have been 2 down, against St Johnstone. They got the break, the VAR, and they got back into the game, so that's given them a real lift. Ayunga getting a goal as well. He's been a long time out injured, and he likes to rotate his forward players, so he's getting Ayunga back and scoring a goal will be important for him. But I think Greg Kiltie has been a really player that they've missed, and he's been back in the last couple of weeks as well. He's the one player that has got a bit of skill there. They've got pace and power in all the right areas, but Kiltie's clever. He's a footballer who can create chances as well, so Kiltie back in the team is a real asset for St Mirren.
Here are the pre-match thoughts of Stephen Robinson.
We faced a tough challenge. They've had some very good results, including a draw against Hibs in midweek. So there's no easy challenges in this league. We have to be 100% on our game. The intensity that we showed in the last 2 games was St Mirren, and I believe we've reset ourselves, and it's now to continue that performance. We haven't won 2 games in the bounce all season, so that gives you a little bit of momentum, and when you can do that, you climb the table and gives you a little bit of leeway from the bottom of it.
That's the thing, because Fraser, people, understandably, managers will say at this stage, I don't really look at the table, but when you see Ross County and St Mirren sort of right next to each other on the table on 11 points, and just below them St Johnstone, who we'll get to, are doing fine. I don't think anyone at this point properly predicts Hibs or Hearts to go down, so you just wonder what that bottom 6 is going to look like, or when it'll take shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they all want somebody to drop off. Livingston saved their day last year. They were dropped off a number of points for most of last season, certainly after the sort of first third. So you've got a bit of comfort there if you're a team, but you're maybe, if you're St Mirren or wherever, you're going to look at, will Ross County, will St Johnstone drop off? But there's no signs of them doing that, so you can easily go, and we're talking just a minute ago about the importance of that win in midweek. If they hadn't won that, they would be the team above the 2 Edinburgh clubs. St Mirren have been 10th place, so really important victory. Important now for St Mirren to get a run of games where they can get some points on the board and get themselves back up that table, because it's going to be a tough season. I just don't think anybody's going to drop off, and we're going to have a real battle between 4 or 5 teams at the bottom come the end of the season.
Well, will St Johnstone or Hearts or both be involved? We will find out, but they play each other today in Perth. Roger Hannah, just wonder about Hearts, because we couldn't escape every single Saturday last season talking about Lawrence Shanklin, because he was doing brilliant things. With that comes an increased expectation, and with that means people are going to notice when you don't do the same the following season. How would you sum up the position he finds himself in?
It's a difficult one. I mean, he really has dropped off. He's gone from 30 goals and Player of the Year to 1 goal. So reliant on Lawrence's goals last season. I can't remember who the second top goal scorer was, but it was 25 goals behind Lawrence Shanklin. And if that's the case, the problems arise when Shanklin, the goals dry up as they have this season. Today Alan Forrest, Jan Danda, Blair Spittle will be asked to try and get round about him, to try and create, but also to try and score goals and try and take the burden off Lawrence Shanklin. It must weigh heavily in his shoulders, Gordon. He's got the armband, and he will know. Neil Critchley yesterday had to defend him against allegations about his, shall we say, conditioning. So when the goals dry up, people try and pick holes in Lawrence Shanklin's game, even in the way Lawrence Shanklin looks, and that's not a good situation for the lad to be in. It will be weighing heavily on his mind, and if there's anyone in the country in need of a goal, it's Lawrence Shanklin.
I was going to bring Mark Wilson in to ask about conditioning, but he's got his 4th Subway cookie of the afternoon in his mouth at the moment, so we'll leave it for now and hear from the managers. Of course, home boss first, Simo Valakari.
They have the quality there, but it's not, we have been concentrating on our thing, and we know it as well, as you said it. They will come here and they see, this game, okay, they can restart their season or how you call it. But that's a normal thing, we need to be ready, and it's, as always, it's all about us. But we look this opportunity to play here in front of our own fans and be positive, be brave, doing all the little details as well as possible, because, as I said it, against a quality team, quality players, if you sleep this one moment, they will punish you.
So new managers who started well but lost during the week is Simo Valakari and Neil Critchley.
I've seen the words reality check, probably was in some aspects. I'm not daft. I watched a lot of the games before I came here, so I know some of the issues that have been apparent. There's a fine line in between winning and losing football matches, and what happens in both penalty boxes ultimately decides the outcome of the game. And the other night we weren't good enough in both boxes.
Looking forward to that one as well. And as we said, our featured match in the Championship is Falkirk against Morton. And David Field, Falkirk may be the only team, as the league table would tell you, that I haven't shown any serious weakness yet. You look at Ayr last night, people were wondering if they could be contenders. Livy spectacularly lost their unbeaten run during the week with a 3-0 defeat against Dunfermline, but Falkirk's sailing along.
Yeah, there was just that one bump in the roads. I spoke about earlier against Raith when they lost, but it bounced back straight away. A really good run since then, Gordon. You just get a sense when you come here now that they feel something special is happening. There's actually a bit of a floodlight display going on right now. It's Falkirk's version of the disco lights, but a huge crowd here. And we spoke about fans wanting to see a team play with identity and clarity and style and all that earlier on. I think John McGlynn has done an unbelievable job here at Falkirk. Just looking at it, they've not been in the top flight for nearly 15 years. They had 4 years in League One, but he's taken this club out of the doldrums. Crowds were down, people had kind of fallen out of love with a local club, and he's brought back the good times. And I fully expect Falkirk to go on and win this league. I do think Livy will give them a run for their money, but I think Falkirk are the best team in the Championship. I think they've got players to come back. If they can add 1 or 2 just to strengthen in January, I don't see anybody catching them at all.
Go on then, a word for your employer as always, Mark. We don't mind it because they're obviously a team that are local to us and are a big deal to our listeners. Dunfermline Partick Thistle today.
Well, good results in recent weeks from a Thistle perspective, playing a bit better, showing a bit more attacking intent, and got their rewards for that. But it's a big one today. It's going to be tough because Dunfermline picked up that good result against Livy. Nobody really saw that coming. So again, another one in the balance, but that Championship is full of games like this. Only Falkirk really is the outlier, who are really the standout team. Everyone else can beat each other. So again, a tough one for Thistle. I think they'll just edge it today. I'll go for.
You chuckling away.
Well, they couldn't turn around and say I fancy Dunfermline strongly, could they? I think they'll just edge it.
Just edge it. Well, they were decent there last year. I think they odd goal they won it by. I think it'll be the same again today.
Okay. Right, well, we'll leave it there because that's the pre-match talking done ahead of the 3 o'clock games. The proper pre-match ahead of Celtic Aberdeen is of course still to come, but for the meantime we'll pause for breath and get the 3 o'clock games underway next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Duncan are here. They're all excited. They've got an extra spring in their step because it's League Cup semi-final weekend. Before we even get to that, we've only got 3 featured games. These 5:30 kickoffs change things for us, and all it means, the challenge is 3 games on your ACCA this afternoon. I don't think any of you have had any success recently. I'm only asking for the outcome of 3 games. Take it away.
It's a Mirren draw
against Ross County.
Hearts away
at St Johnstone,
and Falkirk home win
against Morton. Okay,
St Mirren home win, draw St Johnstone Hearts, and I'll go for a Falkirk home win.
I'm going St Mirren, St Johnstone and Falkirk, all 3 home wins.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
And just like that, we are underway. Let's get the 3 o'clock games up and running. Let's see what drama we can get in the leagues before the semi-finals of the League Cup take place a bit later on this evening. We'll properly build up to it, Hugh. Of course we will. We'll have team news, we'll have Gabriel at Hampden. But really, if you're to draw your ideal semi-final, it might be a nice place to start to have 2 teams that are only separated by goal difference at the top of the table, haven't lost, add in the Aberdeen story. It's just a brilliant prospect, isn't it?
I can only sum it up in one 4-letter word: epic. It has all the hallmarks of an epic cup tie. Because
EPIC.
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
Is there no K at the end of that?
No, there's no K at the end of it. No.
Epic.
You had me on it. That's the beauty of the way you do things. I was on edge there as to what is this 4-letter word going to be.
No, I mean, Jimmy Tilleen,
good,
the great success story of the season. Brendan Rodgers, the seasoned campaigner, the man who has on 2 tours of duty at Celtic Park delivered not only trophies but unique things like the Invincible season and the trebles. Everything he touches turns to gold for Celtic. But the League Cup was the big shock last season when they went out to Kilmarnock, and he wants that trophy back because he wants a treble, and the Celtic supporters expect a treble because of the undiluted success the club has had. But here we have Aberdeen, the upstart team of the season, and it is terrific to behold, because when I saw the pyrotechnic display prior to the game against Rangers on Wednesday, I thought to myself, Pittodrie hasn't looked and felt like this since the halcyon days of Sir Alec himself. It's never been like this since Sir Alec left 40 years ago.
Did he like pyrotechnics as well?
No, I think he'd have been out and cuffed your ear if he'd had a pyrotechnic anywhere near him. But the feeling about the club now, it's been, as I say, I think to an extent Aberdeen are the great underachievers in Scottish football. 40 years since they get a title, 34 years since they get a Scottish Cup, 10 years since they got a League Cup, and even that was in penalties against Inverness Cali Thistle. But this man has revolutionised the whole place, and tonight, under the floodlights, full house, epic.
We have missed the big build-up, the big suspense. You know, we're practicing, we're rehearsing for you two for your big Christmas night out, where we're going to.
Where is that?
Wait and see when the first goal, where the first goal goes in Scotland, and then we're going to send you off there for your
Edinburgh
Christmas.
Is it?
South of Edinburgh.
Bonnie Rigrose have scored inside the first minute. It is in Midlothian. It's about 8 miles southeast of Edinburgh city centre, I think. But you know, it's kind of between the rivers, north and south.
We just missed it in Hamilton as well.
We could have went to Hamilton.
The Palace. You got a few tales for the Palace.
I used to parachute
still
the
banned.
Paris.
Thank goodness you said that.
Holding a lady's hand.
You're still banned from there, you know.
A palace?
I thought it was like a lifetime.
There's a statue of the palace.
Definite to ban.
Had some great nights in the
I'll tell you what, and then it would be a real close run thing because Elgin scored just after.
Yeah.
I don't know what Elgin's equivalent of the Hamilton Palace is. But we need to pick a date then for you two to do this experiment.
Well, it needs to be early December.
Get the diary out and we'll see.
Yeah,
when
early
we go.
December.
Whoever scores first, we
first
send you
December.
off. And there we go. It's half time between Dumbarton and Cove. Because they requested to kick off early. I think just saving the floodlights or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and
nice
plus
and,
the
nice
fact
and
it gives Cove the opportunity to get them down. You know, it's
people
a long
travelling
journey.
home safer.
I like that. I think a lot of the lower leagues should have that option. Just request it a 1 o'clock kick off, 12 o'clock.
Yeah,
get it over and done with.
Exactly, and you've got the full Saturday night.
I'm not sure get it over and done with is quite the right.
Football only get in the way on a Saturday, doesn't it? I noticed it through my career.
Pittodrie journey for you.
Oh, I hated Pittodrie. I was delighted when I get dropped.
Right, Hugh, whilst we wait on our first goal of our featured matches, let's do this.
Why not?
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Tropicality is everything. Since 2022, 6 players have scored for Celtic or Rangers in a Scottish League Cup semi-final. Name them. Since 2022, half a dozen players have scored for Celtic or Rangers in a Scottish League Cup semi-final. Who are they?
Don't look it up. Just have a go. See if you can recall them off the top of your head at Clyde SSB. Said this last night. For some reason, I find like cup semi-finals quite hard to recall.
Yeah.
Sometimes, unless like if your team's involved or whatever, you would remember it. But what was the question that sparked this last night? I think it was just who did Rangers play in the Cup semi last season?
I would say Hearts.
And it was Hearts. But you were on, I think, on Thursday when we had the question, no?
No, it wasn't a question.
What about Pedro Caixinha Day when he ended up?
Oh, I remember that, of course. That's what I said.
Yeah.
When you've got your own vested interest. Ryan Bowman and Fabio Cardozo, Bloodbath and Louis Moult. Oh, memories. Inverness 1, Kelty Hearts 0. Louis Longstaff with the goal. Obviously very troubled times for Inverness. On one hand, I would be pleased for the fans that they've gone in front, and on the other, my sympathy to Friday night Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard pundit Scott Allen, who's not even fit. He's helping out with the coaching, and he's all the way up in Inverness.
Is he not back playing again? I know he had a problem with his arm, didn't he?
Broken wrist.
Come on, you can
just strap that up. Huh?
No.
You always see the players with the tape on it now, don't you? There is the fashionable tape.
He's not got a stookie.
He's only just got it off though. Had the stookie until like last week.
I agree with you. Just get on with it.
I think he's been told it's quite a serious thing by all accounts. A clean break. I think it's a while yet before he's good to go. Anyway, Inverness 1 Kelty 0 is the game. Is the latest goal, that one coming down in League 1. Nothing in their featured matches, but we only have 3 of them, so maybe we will be a bit quieter on that front. Your your first half teaser, easy mistake to make. Your first half teaser is up and running, so get your game faces on. It's at Clyde SSB. We need all of your answers quickly. Send them over. And there's been a goal in the early game that we referenced there. Dumbarton 0, Cove Rangers 1. Fraser 5 on 50 minutes.
He's been about for a while.
Yeah.
Good times at Aberdeen. Is that right? Aberdeen.
That's where he started.
Aberdeen, Dumbarton rather 15 points ahead of Inverness Cali Thistle at kick-off time, so might be reduced to 12. Maybe the fight back's on.
Fraser 5 FA Cup winner.
Yep, that's right. It's amazing.
FA Cup winner with Wigan.
Oh, you know your stuff, honestly.
When you think of quality of players, and you think of players, going down the level, I've told you before, we come up against Brecon, and Cove were a good side, but he looked like a 6-year in high school playing against primary school boys.
All right.
He say more about your Brecon team than anything. No,
he did it throughout the league though. So I would say about my team, but he would just run about and he had freedom of the pitch. He's brilliant at that level.
Do you know what I say Saturday afternoons
at Brecon?
Standing there at Glebe, looking over at that hedge, thinking, I used to play in the Champions League.
I don't miss the hedge. No, how is the hedge men doing these days? Anybody?
Top of the Highland League again.
But probably that league never play games in the same day. Probably someday.
No, they're very
four games in hand.
Very much top. Banks of D, I think, just behind them, who knocked out East Fife in the
That's
cup.
Who
last
my young Thistle team drew in the Scottish Cup for the next round.
Banks
of D. You love this. So it has to be a Friday, doesn't it? I guess what time they kick off.
Please tell me 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Banks of D away on a Friday night in a couple of weeks.
And you'll be in here the next day.
Oh,
good.
It'll come straight from Banks of D.
I'm very much looking forward to that, I have to say.
What's happening with City?
That won't matter, will it?
Nah, they'll come back.
Bournemouth 1, Man City 0. Semenyo on 9 minutes. Ethan Ross has had a shot blocked for Falkirk after a corner. Morton tried to break, but Michael Garrity's shot saved by Hogarth in the goal.
Pointing at the league table in some of the feature games, it's amazing to think St Mirren 6 defeats this season and can go into the top 6 today with a win. It just shows that the inconsistency. I was going to paint it in a nicer way than you.
Let's be honest.
The inconsistency between Aberdeen and Celtic and the rest of the league. If you're a betting man, you'd struggle to get up a cooking with some of the results this season.
Speaking from experience.
That's just the guy to the left, mate.
I've stopped. I don't even put it on there.
Well,
the worst is the most extreme example is League 1. Have you noticed the points situation in League 1? 5 points separating 5 points separating first and ninth.
We'd call that well contested, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
that's what we want in our top division, is it not?
I mean, unlikely to happen because of the the goal difference, all that sort of stuff, but just on a kind of basic level, Queen of the South were 7 if they're 7th. If they got the right win, it would put them top.
Amazing that.
Well, either St Mirren or Ross County, if there's a winner in Paisley,
you're having a nightmare.
They'd be only 2 points behind Motherwell.
I'll tell you what, everybody spoke so highly Rhys McCabe.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there. I just looked at the points. That's 33 points available so far, and they've picked up 5, and they're already 2-0 down to Hamilton Accies at home.
Airdrie 0, Hamilton Accies 2 inside 9 minutes. It's a Sam Graham own goal, and as Gordon quite rightly says, they were given a lot of plaudits, and understandably so.
You know what he'll be getting just now, don't you? Because you got
the Airdrie fans are lovely.
Yeah, you got it. That's the reason I used to just go to games away from there. On you go, Mark.
There would be times we'd be winning and playing brilliantly, and the fans were still shouting abuse.
But you know, seriously, a real.
I don't know how that happened. Well, look, he's lost some of the personnel that was so integral to some of those performances, an eye-catching way of playing. So he's had to replace that. But like when you're in that division, we've said it before, anybody can beat anybody. They can't get a grip of anything to hold on to. Like they can't get ahead in games and just dig in and get a result that might kick them on, and they're getting beat every single week. He's finding it difficult. However, I think the Airdrie board will stand by that. I really do. I think he's got enough goodwill in the tank.
Not won a championship game since the opening weekend of the season, I think, against Wraith.
Yeah, it's a long time. Game. It's a long time. It shows how football can change so quickly. Reece was being touted for jobs higher up in the leagues, maybe some down south as well, and rightly so, because it was an attractive way of playing. But football just changes. It's on a knife edge a lot of the time.
Conceding too many goals. That's 22 goals in 12 games.
Well, I wonder if it's the higher up the league you go into the next division, and you're playing against, like he's playing against John Rankin's team today. Now John, knowing him, would have studied Airdrie within an inch of their life. They've come up with a system, they're working things. Teams are a wee bit more professional, they're prepared for what Airdrie were. I think a lot of last season people were surprised by how Airdrie played, the system they played, and they were free flowing attack. They get ahead in games, they were very hard then to pin back. Teams were on the back foot. I think teams have caught on to that, and it's maybe just about reinventing yourself or tweaking some of your tactics to get the best out of the squad you've got. Maybe he has to look at that, but I think they'll stick by him. I don't think he's under pressure just yet.
Cove were right to ask for an early kick-off. 2 up now.
Yep, Mitch Megginson scorer again of many goals down the leagues. Dumbarton 0, Cove 2, 55 minutes gone there. As we said, that is the earlier kick-off at the request of both teams to get it over and done with. Up the road for Strictly. I think that's is that the idea?
Nobody's watching Strictly now.
Oh, I do every week. I watched that last week.
Audience figures are dipping.
Yeah, no wonder.
It was Halloween week last week. It was good.
It's the worst programme.
No, I'm standing up for Strictly.
Seriously?
I watch every week. Yeah. You've got to admire some of the steps and there's some of the footwork.
I'd rather go to Banks of DVU next Friday.
You've got to like it. It's the only thing it's on now in the Saturday night.
Alloa 1, Anna 0. Cammy O'Donnell with the goal there on 13 minutes.
I tried old ballroom dancing once.
Did you?
Went for lessons, yeah.
Ahead of which wedding?
Oh, his wedding.
The third one, and then I forgot every step.
Nerves get the better of you.
No, I had a few wines. My missus. Honestly, I thought here we go.
You went for proper lessons
for 2 months.
I can't imagine you.
For 2, one and no 1 and 1. What is it?
2 and 1.
2 and 1
or 1 and 2.
1 and 2, whatever it may be, right? And I went strict once for 2 months every week, right? For I can't even remember what my song was. You know how you have a song?
Yes, it's called The First Dance.
That's it. I can't even remember.
Or the third dance in your case.
I'm the only person who's had an album at the weddings I've been at. And I've got to admit, I thought to myself, right, this is my moment. And I got up and I swear I forgot every single thing I was taught.
You know what, that's him in a nutshell. I think that's like you as a player. Nervous. See, when it comes to the big moment, nervous.
What are you doing nervous? I'm drinking too much champagne.
Please drink responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you get married.
She must have loved that night as well.
She get better looking to be the hour.
Stop it. Liverpool 0, Brighton 1. Hugh, the family will be happy.
Let me tell you, my grandson's media class on Thursday, media class, a study of the final hour of Super Scoreboard after the game at Pittodrie the night before.
That teacher's at it, absolutely phoning it in. Can't be bothered planning a lesson, so Archie's grandpa's on the radio. We'll stick that on. And
What do you mean media class
at school?
You get a media class at school?
Modern ways now, yeah.
How old is he?
15.
15, you're getting a media. You're right, Gordon. The teachers just thought,
it's like the equivalent of sticking a film on towards the end of school.
I say to my son all the time, this week in particular, what are we doing at school? We watched another movie.
Brilliant.
I'm like, what?
Always the best.
How many films you watching at
Did you
that school?
do that at school?
You up?
Watch a movie.
John McGlynn.
I only like the end of term or whatever. They'd wheel the telly in. You could hear it coming along the corridor. Now they'll have these smart boards and whatever, they'll do it all. But
he's studying in geography, he's studying tsunamis, so they put on that film The Impossible and just let them watch it over the course of a week.
We always watched Titanic in history, and then everybody was
shipbuilding.
Everybody was
I thought you were going to sing it.
all the first years are all sitting waiting on them getting inside the car. The sweaty handprint.
That was the best bit. You would have loved that bit.
Anyway, luckily for everyone,
Calamity Jane with Doris Day.
TV at your school, not a chance.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I was going to say, if we didn't get a goal within the next minute, I was genuinely going to open up and say, tell us what films you watched at school. It was getting to that stage of worrying me about the lack of goals. You can still do that if you want, but it's 1-0 to Falkirk. Keelan Adams' header from a free kick, Miller's delivery, nice header, and there we go. That one starting as you might expect, looking at the form of the two sides. So Falkirk 1, Morton 0.
I just think it's such a sensational story. John McGlynn, the possibility of back-to-back promotions, Falkirk back in the Premiership. It would be a phenomenal story, and good luck to him. I hope he does it.
We had that a couple of years ago with Arbroath, but I think with Arbroath we all kind of suspected it may come down to a bridge too far for them, which I proved. But with Falkirk, you can't really see them collapsing. Just seeing them first time, but seeing them first hand and how they play, I'm struggling to see how that can then all go belly up, really. So once he's got that momentum going with the team, everybody's feeling good. Somebody mentioned it earlier, January, I think, was it David that mentioned it earlier? If he adds one or two.
Well, Falkirk fans won't thank me for saying, but because two things would need to happen then. They would need to really collapse, and also the Championship is notorious for no one else really going to put on a big run. Do you know what I mean? Who's the one that's going to now emerge and definitely be way more consistent? Clearly it could still happen. It's early in the season, but it feels like they're already, Gordon, it feels like a pretty safe bet they're going to be there or thereabouts.
Oh, they'll certainly be there or thereabouts. I think there's only two teams in that running. I think the two teams are at the top of the table just now. I think Falkirk and Livingston will see that out to see who wins it. I watched Ayr and Mull Club Wraith. Well, Ayer's Mull Club as well. Both Mull clubs, right? I'll say that. Last night, and it was a terrific result for Wraith.
What about the goal from Wraith?
Yeah, brilliant.
What
move
a goal.
down the left hand side.
That.
They've not seen that stats part since 1984.
Don't make it about you.
No, I didn't play there at 84. 87. Sorry.
Great, wasn't it? Lewis Stevenson rolling back the years.
You're looking at Hibs second bottom. You're looking at a colourless team, very low in confidence, enthusiasm, aggression, pace, whatever. And there's Lewis Stevenson, who left the club, and he looks terrific. And you think, surely they must be thinking to themselves, we made a mistake letting him go.
There are all these little subplots in the Falkirk story as well, because the goal scorer there, Keelan Adams, signed from
an English club.
No, Cumbernauld Colts in the Lowland League to Falkirk, and flying, standing out every week according to the guys that go along for this show.
Is he right back?
He's a full back.
By any chance? Yeah, I got told about him a couple of weeks ago, and somebody says, this boy, keep an eye on him. Yeah,
I thought you were going to say you got offered him at Brecon and
Brecon. By the way, there's a few I've got offered at Brecon.
So Fraser was telling us he was in the USA on a scholarship. So he's a football intellectual, much like yourself, Dazzler. And
he wasn't born in the USA, was he?
No, that was Bruce Springsteen.
I like that. He teed up for you, Hugh.
He nearly ruined it by not being able to say the word Bruce, but he managed it in the end.
Teed up lovely for him.
But seriously, a good story, Mark, and a great sort of lesson, if you like, that there are a lot of good players out there if you know where to find them.
And I think even for players, understanding that
Sure.
there's a lot of different pathways. You don't have to come through an academy or, you know, be a Celtic and Rangers and then work your way down to Falkirk. You can go away and get an education and come back and still have the opportunity. You need the club to buy into it, and that's what John McGunn's done. Though he's recruited, you know, on profile and attributes rather than the club here.
Do you remember Clyde went down that road and went and signed all the junior players under Alan Maitland and Ron McDonald? Do you remember that?
No.
And they just went into the junior leagues, brought all the junior players in, and to a bit of criticism. By the way, they done brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Fraser Wishart's just sent the match stats from St Mirren Ross County with, where are we, 20 minutes gone, 22 minutes gone, 50% possession each, no shots on target or off target, obviously, no shots blocked. Ross County 1 touch in the St Mirren box, St Mirren 3 touches in the Ross County box.
So it's an epic cue.
No, it's
Played in the H. That's where that's played.
So it's another 4-letter word. We'll move on after that.
Edinburgh City 1, 4-0. John Robertson with the goal. Let's check in on the teaser, Hugh. We're about to reach the midway point of the first half.
Since 2022, 6 players have scored for Celtic or Rangers in a Scottish League Cup semi-final. Name them.
I think this is the type that people can just Google. So let's see if we've got just general knowledge out there without having to look it up. Most people doing pretty well, I have to say. I was hoping for some wrong answers. Well, Bailey did want to throw in Callum McGregor.
No.
Right, okay, keep your guesses coming there. What about Greg's Gardens? Thinks it might be James Forrest.
No.
Okay, well, that's 2 quite popular
I thought
wrong
Forrest,
ones.
I thought he was one.
Nah.
He scored against Motherwell.
He would be a safe bet, wouldn't he?
Yeah, 1 year was that a long time ago.
He would be a safe bet. Queen of the South 1, Montrose 0. I thought that said Pharrell Williams. This has escaped me.
You would be happy.
Queen of the South have got a Pharrell Willis. When did this happen?
Who's your manager at Queen of South?
Boy for Annan, it used to be Peter Murphy.
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There you go. Now you,
yeah,
now you
it's
know.
a school day.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah, get a film on.
Aye, back to the films.
No one's tweeted me to tell me what films they used to watch at school, I have to say.
It used to be near Christmas time, eh?
But you're right, so the Titanic one stayed with me for obvious reasons, and as a what would we watched something in geography about a volcano. What would that have been?
Dante's Peak.
Yes.
That's a brilliant film, man. Pierce Brosnan.
I'm glad you're here.
He saved the day.
Dante's Peak.
You never seen that?
Nah.
Oh, get on that.
Man,
You're
Bishop,
right. It's the ones when they try and pass it off as educational.
Tells you everything you need to know about volcanoes.
My ambition this year, and I've said it every year under this guy here, that I'm going to watch that. Is it the one Christmas? What's it called?
Listen, we'll save this discussion for a couple of weeks.
What is it, the one
I'm sick of you having never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
A Wonderful
The
Life.
Christmas movie discussion I've got scheduled in for 3 weeks' time, so we'll wait till then.
Imagine going to the pictures every year, and that tells you there's a problem.
I think that's acceptable.
I don't go to the cinema every year now.
Do you?
Not since I had a child.
Oh, the kid came along and ruined it.
Just watch it in the house.
He's
now.
got another one as well, so that's going to ruin another few things.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Moving on, Alloa 2, Annan 0. Rankin with the goal. Peterhead 1, the Spartans 1, Bradley White. Clyde 1, Bonnie Rigrose 1. Jordan Allen's equalised. Darren Young's first league game in charge, isn't it?
Rock bottom of the league, so Darren will need to hit the ground running.
That's a hard job, isn't it? Taking over Clyde.
Yeah.
What about the?
Couldn't they pay me enough to do that?
What about the Spartans as well? Because they obviously caused the big cup shock, didn't they? Beating with Ross County earlier on in the season, and then got dumped out of the Scottish Cup quite spectacularly last week. So they're Cowdenbeath beat them. Lowland League Cowdenbeath knocked them out of the Scottish Cup last
You know,
week.
it's sad. Old Cowdenbeath, I used to love going playing their Central Park.
The cars,
the big tyres and everything.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Whether they're allowed or disallowed, or even in this case own goals, Nicky Clark is right in amongst it. He's put in his own net this time to make it 1-0 to Hearts up there in Perth. It's a glancing header at the near post from Blair Spittle's corner, which is never good. Flew inside the far post, and it is a good start for Neil Critchley's side. St Johnstone 0, Hearts 1.
Dad will be raging. Sandy Clark, former Hearts player and manager. But that's a real break for Neil Critchley.
Did Sandy manage Hearts?
Yeah.
I thought he was assisting there.
Just with the description, you can picture that pretty clearly. Can you? Him in that front post area to defend the corner, whipped in and thinking he'll get any touch, and glance off his head in his own net. He's had a good time out recently though.
Who, Nicky Clark?
Well, captain's armband. Sore one for him this afternoon, though.
I just saw a tweet from Lanarkshire Live Sport, which doesn't sound too encouraging. The police have been called at New Broomfield after a number of supporters from the home section rushed towards the south stand housing the Accies fans following the opening goal.
Because that's a derby, isn't it? Does that comes under the flagship of a derby?
I would say so.
They're in Hamilton.
Fraser Wishart celebrating. He's had a blocked shot in the game in Paisley. Elvis Bomono's effort.
Look, tell me, Stoke Mono. He's good for nothing.
Not far away.
He gets his stats off the other people. He doesn't even need any work. And he does a wee bit.
Does he? Does he ask somebody else?
Yeah, that's what he done. That's what he said. Somebody from Inverness gave him the stats. He sits and he watches a game. He does 2 minutes at half time, 4 minutes at full time, and he's up the road and he's sitting there moaning.
No, I honestly feel in the last few weeks your cruelty towards Fraser has gone too far.
I know he's got a difficult schedule with the Penguin. And I watched him on Monday, and I'll tell you what, what a
criminal underworld to run. That's shocking for you. Has he ever had any response for that? Has he ever? Come on, scrap the half time analysis,
just
Fraser, and just
roast Gordon DL.
Could you imagine Fraser champing your door on Thursday night? You're shouting, "Hey Mary, come here and see this guy. This guy's a Penguin. He's absolutely brilliant."
Not nice. Not nice. I'm not impressed. Genuinely, I don't like it.
Fraser knows I'm kidding. I love Fraser.
You love the Penguin though, don't you? You're not shut up about it. I've still not seen it,
mate,
I have to say.
Listen, for anybody out there honest, it's brilliant. You seen it?
No,
it's brilliant.
What is it?
It's based on, I don't know,
Batman.
Aye, based on that type thing.
He's a villain in Batman.
If you've not seen it, this is right up your street, and I can personally guarantee you it.
What?
Rivals. Have you watched that?
I watched the first episode.
I thought you might.
Look at the grin in his face. Why is that? Why?
Just entertaining. It's the 80s, based in the 80s. So
I watched the first Gambit.
A lot of action, isn't it?
A lot of action.
Okay, quite give that a watch later.
It has descended on Twitter as I thought it might. Stephen Bissett says that Bend It Like Beckham used to get wheeled out in RE. No idea what the link was.
In RE?
Apparently.
Wow.
Just any sort of foreign culture and stick it on and just see what happens.
It's a film I never watched. Never seen that.
I was younger, yeah.
Keira Knightley was in that.
Too right. Anyway, back to the football, where the last goal to tell you about in our featured matches, or any match for that matter, was the Hearts opener at St Johnstone, Nicky Clark's own goal. And I suppose if you are Hearts and you're needing a little break, then you won't grumble, Hugh. You'll take it in the form of an own goal.
Well, yeah, any port in a storm, because had the Hearts lost today, and the game's far from finished, but I think if Hearts were to go down for a second time in 4 days, then all bets are off and the manager comes under fresh appraisal.
I like Hearts' approach. They've put on Twitter a picture of Blair Spittle goal and says we'll give that one to Blair. Just don't know if that's how it works.
No, you can't give that.
Just don't know how, if we can bend the rules in that manner. There's a man who's flying down south.
Who?
Chris Wood. Nottingham Forest 1.
Has he scored again?
Nottingham Forest 1, West Ham 0.
I watched him last week away from home. Who was it they played? He was brilliant. Scored a couple of goals. Scored a Desmond.
Where are they in the league? Because I said they were fifth last week.
Leicester, last week, yeah.
Leicester.
So in the top half of the table, certainly, aren't they?
That's up to 9 for the season. Yeah, they're flying comfortably top half. Ethan Ross has had a shot saved, can't convert on the rebound. He's been very good for Falkirk, and they do lead in our featured championship match. Still nothing from your employer, Mark Wilson. Does
nothing,
that surprise
quite
you?
Not really, because if you look at the games recently, very tight, never much really going on. But in the last couple of weeks, Thistle have managed to sneak a couple of goals. One last week against Queen's Park, so often tight affairs, and that doesn't surprise me. I think one goal will win that one.
When will we get the teams from Hampden?
I would say in about 45 minutes time.
That'll be interesting for Celtic.
A lot of topics of conversation, and from Aberdeen's perspective, because You touched upon Shinnie and the effort, determination. Nicky Devlin, unbelievable. How much is it taken out of
they
them?
play, doesn't matter, they're rested.
I'm not saying that they won't play, but I mean,
I think I've got to be honest, and I didn't really throw in my tuppence worth, but I think Celtic will win that today comfortably.
Oh, I said that during the week, and look what happened to me. I said Rangers will win comfortably.
Yeah, but
I know that's a much worse prediction on paper, to be fair.
Well, mind you, in fairness, I didn't know that Jeffrey and Cherney weren't playing.
Oh,
when
is
I
that
said
what it was? Is that changed it? That swung it. That swung it from a comfortable win to a defeat.
That yes,
it's quite drastic. There's a Scotland squad announced on Monday, so always good to look out for who may or may not be in. If he is in, it won't be to score goals. But anyway, Ryan Porteous has put Watford 1-up at Sheffield Wednesday.
Would you be amenable to the idea of Lennon Miller in the Scotland squad, full squad?
He was named in the 19s. This
yeah.
week. I mean, I dare say if Steve Clarke had other ideas, they could rearrange. But usually, it's a clue that wouldn't happen. But you never know.
In terms of playing with the 21s, that was the discussion the last time. Was it the right thing? I think, yeah, that was the right thing to give them game time. 19s, though, I think you're more inclined to look up the way in terms of first team
Steve Clarke,
just maybe because it's a qualifier, and I'm assuming he wants to play or is willing to play or whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mark. I don't think I wouldn't be picking him for the 19s. He's way above that now.
But I know, as a player though, is it healthy to start thinking you're above it?
Yeah. I think you've got to believe in your own confidence. Aaron Hickey, he was the same, wasn't he?
In the 21s.
21, yeah. Says, look, I'm full international player here. Back your own ability. Lennon Miller's at that stage for me. I don't think the 19s will do him any good. I'm certainly, if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't be playing.
Steve Clarke always give you the impression he's reluctant to go too far, be innovative, be ambitious, put the kid in.
Put Ben Doak in the squad before the Euros, to be fair, and the only reason he didn't go was because he was injured. He was a teenager at the time.
I think to maybe back Steve Clarke up about the selection, if he's not included, which we don't expect him to be because he's in the 19s, is who is in the area that he's in. With Ben Doak, also a lack of strikers, lack of pace in the team, so you can see why he was included.
Because worth bearing in mind, I know it doesn't feel like it, but relatively speaking, the last break was okay. We got that draw against Portugal, and John McGinn will obviously come back into the midfield to add to that squad that was already there. So we got limited.
You look at
numbers.
McTominay and Gilmore flying at the minute. Yeah, they've got a lot in that area, so that's the one thing that's gone against Lennon Miller just now. But it's no doubt he'll be in there sooner rather than later.
If there was a first time midfield call up, do you think Luke McCowan would enter the thought process?
Not so sure.
No,
I don't know.
He's doing well at Celtic, isn't he? You got to. He's settled in there well.
Steve Clarke will have to do us the favour of coming up here and watching a game.
I think he would have to have more involvement.
Recently, is he not? He comes up. He was in the stands at a game recently, I'm sure.
I think Luke McCowan would have to have a few more starts under his belt. There's no doubt he's been impressive, but I think there's a few ahead of him.
It's a VAR check for a St Mirren penalty. One of those ones that you're not quite sure because there wasn't like big claims or anything. So I suppose on one hand it's there to spot things that others don't, but then it's always a bit of a strange experience if you're in the stadium. So it would be a chance for St Mirren to take the lead at home to Ross County, but still a bit to work through yet. We don't quite know if that's going to be given.
Fraser might get overexcited. He's been sitting there for half an hour watching.
I tell you,
not very much.
They're getting good crowds at St Mirren. I think they're Rovers.
Obsessed with crowds.
Well, I think it's part and parcel. It showed you we're getting entertaining football.
Don Robertson is going to the Monitor.
It's been a busy old week for VAR, especially at St Mirren.
Still not had a shot at goal, so this is certainly going to be a shot at goal if he gives the decision as you would expect him to. Our refs don't actually always stick with what they see at the Monitor. You know, they don't always give it, but I think clearly across the world more often than not you do expect that to be the case, and it is a penalty to St Mirren. Ross County 0, St Mirren 0 at the moment. Sorry, St Mirren 0, Ross County 0. But a chance to, yep, you would imagine so. Scored during the week, didn't he? With the header.
Yeah. I wonder if the horn will be getting tooted. We will not need your goal flash. All we'll hear is beep beep. Girlfriend in the car.
I was wondering what you were going with that.
He actually did lose me for a minute. It was for a pull on Marcus Fraser as he jumped for a corner.
Wonder what players are thinking.
I say this all the time, I know.
Yeah.
Like, we get obsessed and then we all argue about as if, well, you should be allowed a little pull and whatever, which I do get, because, you know, contact is natural. But in the VAR era, you'll all tell me it's a natural reaction, and who am I to argue?
But I think if you do get a wee grab, you've got to let go instantly, so you can't keep holding it.
It is not Mark O'Hara, it is Greg Kiltie who's going to take the spot kick for St Mirren.
Fraser mentioned him, I'm sure.
Ball in hand, and he's going to try and put St Mirren one up at home against Ross County. Don Robertson giving the penalty after going to the monitor. He steps up, Greg Kiltie, and it's saved by Ross Laidlaw. It remains goalless. He saved it with his legs, and it's a big opportunity that's passed St Mirren by.
Can someone tell me why O'Hara's not? Did he miss one?
He did miss one, didn't he? What game was that again?
But he's a captain, and you don't listen. You miss one.
His decision.
You think so?
Motherwell. Remember the eventful one
So
at Fir Park?
So it was, yeah.
Against his former
But
team.
you step up. You're a captain. Take responsibility and put the ball in the back of the net. I'm a bit disappointed in Big O'Hara.
Mark.
You
weren't quite sure. I saw you got to say Mark there, and
I
just reversed a bit and just went O'Hara.
I went with the surname.
He's tried to go down the middle. Greg Kiltie saved with the legs of Ross Laidlaw. So a bit of drama, but the scoreline stays as it was.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Not in Falkirk though, and the league leaders just keep on going. It's 2-0 and it's Ethan Ross with a header. It's great play. Ball out to Miller, curls it across, glancing header, and heading into the break. Falkirk 2, Morton 0.
Well, yeah, it's not a coincidence at the top of the league. They have fabulous consistency. They play good football. They're easy on the eye, and they score goals. They have the cocktail for winning promotion.
He's had a good season as well. Ethan Ross, good season, good player. Morton struggling, you're saying?
Yeah, they're sitting down there, 8th? Only with 10 points.
By the way, they started the season okay, Morton, because they thought it was going to be difficult for them. A couple of their changes. I think Doug Emery adopted a different style of playing. It looked good in the eye, looked better in the eye than it did last season, but proven ineffective.
Doesn't turn out to be costly for Ross County, but Eli Campbell, the player who gave away the penalties, the same one that got, remember that daft red card for the 2 bookings for Ross County in Perth? Was that last weekend?
Can't remember that.
No, over on the far side.
Yeah.
He
jumped into the tackle.
2 bookings in quick succession. That's him again. That's the one who's given away the penalty here.
Is he on loan actually?
I think he might be. Yeah, he is. He's from down south somewhere, isn't he?
He's having a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of the bigger clubs. Why can't I remember off the top of my head?
It's not Liverpool, is it? No, just made that up.
Everton, I think.
Close. It was close.
Just across the road,
across the Mersey,
across the swing park, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it a swing park?
I have no idea. Let's go for a 5-minute warning on the teaser here.
Okay. Since 2022, 6 players have scored for Celtic or Rangers in a Scottish League Cup semi-final. Name them.
Most people at least getting pretty close. If they don't have them all, they've got most of them. I can see one coming in for Tom Rogic.
No.
Nope. Just probably a bit off in the.
He was a
timing.
Scottish Cup finalist, wasn't he?
Where is Tom Rogic now? Was he retired?
Retired, yeah.
Chucked it.
Did he? I loved him. I thought he was a great player.
Good, wasn't he? Okay, keep your guesses coming then. Maybe 5 minutes or so we will announce the winner of the first half teaser at Clyde SSB. Been a fairly lively half, in the sense that we've at least got a goal in Perth, and we've had a VAR penalty drama in Paisley, but it was missed, so it remains goalless there. And a fairly straightforward afternoon for Falkirk against Morton in our featured championship game. There are other championship games that may interest you. We thought it could get ugly for Airdrie. They went 2-0 down at home to Hamilton Accies after 6 minutes. It's still 2-0. Dunfermline 0, Partick 0, and Livy 0, Queen's Park 0 as well.
Not much action in those games, but again, I keep saying this, it's always closely contested, those games. You look at Livy games this season, not a lot of goals in them. I know they get beat by 3 midweek. Same with Partick, so it's not a lot of real easy watching football in the division, apart from Falkirk, you'd have to say.
It is easily the favourite part for me of a Saturday, where we just randomly stumble on nonsense. And Jack has messaged in to say he went to St Thomas Aquinas.
So did I.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
And the school took us to Annie's Land Odeon Cinema to see The Plank starring Tommy Cooper, etc. Greetings from sunny Spain, Jim, he says.
The Plank?
The Plank?
Tommy
Cooper.
I
don't know.
I wasn't at school in the 70s. I left school in the 60s.
Yeah.
So.
You were 10 years into your papers.
Yeah,
70s.
As I say, when I was there, it was Doris Day.
Getting taken to the
Calamity
cinema.
Jane.
That's a different one. I remember those. Then the old TV being wheeled in though at school. I got Romeo and Juliet one time in English. Remember the one where it was Leonardo DiCaprio? Yeah. I couldn't understand.
That makes sense.
But I couldn't understand what was going on.
That makes sense though. Shakespeare.
It
English.
It wasn't my favourite topic.
See the connection. Producer Chris is excited in my ear. Says that he was the same. He watched the same film as you.
Romeo and Juliet. Did you?
Went to similar schools.
I didn't take much for it.
No,
died in the end.
He now says he watched it in history, so that's a bit of a that's different.
And
that's
history,
a story.
It's not a real story though. So historical inaccuracies.
And see if you watch that, do you do a?
Have you never been to Verona? Yeah, they have the Juliet statue and all that. You remember you went your Italian tour?
Yeah.
Do you ever remember that? Remember he went his Italian tour, and all of a sudden one day I get messages from an unknown number, and it's the tour operator who's been told to send me pictures of him on holiday. Just him at various Italian landmarks. Some poor tour operator been asked to send them on.
I like that, Hugh.
Italy's a lovely country, isn't it, Hugh?
Oh, my favourite country. I'd rather live there than here.
What was the script with that? It was some sort of rail journey you went, wasn't it, across Italy?
Everywhere by rail, from Venice to Rome to Florence to Milan.
I could sense like the sort of uncertainty in the tone of the message. It was like, "Hi Gordon, this is so and so from Excelsior Travel or whatever. I've got Hugh Keevins as part of my group, and he's asked me to send you these pictures."
Yeah. Did you have to stay with a full group throughout?
Yeah, together.
I don't like that.
Listen, we got on the train in London to go to Paris. That's where the journey began by rail. And the first person in the group, and I said to him, "What do you do?" He said, "I used to be a cameraman on the Morecambe and Wise show." And that was, really interesting, folks.
That would do nothing.
And you fell for that?
No.
Yeah.
I know. This guy was.
Guy's that.
No.
Hey, Mary, he's fell for us.
I believe him as
Keep
well.
it going.
We've got a live one here.
He'll hang about with us. He'll be buying the coffees. Just keep telling them about the Morecambe Wise show.
Listen, this guy was so into cameras, he showed me a burglary at his own home taking place
when he was on the train.
On his ring doorbell.
The night before he left to join the railway tour of Italy, his home, which was a very big home.
That would be if you were a cameraman.
Yeah. And he filmed his home being burgled.
But probably try to steal all the tapes in Morecambe and Wise Christmas specials.
By the way, people are getting right into this now. Seriously, people are right into this. Ian says he watched Of Mice and Men in English at Lourdes Secondary School. I can believe it. Pozog says Herbie Goes Bananas.
I love Herbie.
Why would you watch that?
I love Herbie.
That the car?
The car. Oh, I loved Herbie. I grew up with Herbie.
What is he watching that in? Tech or something like that?
This would be brutal because is this not quite long? James says in history they watched Saving Private Ryan for 20 minutes every other day for weeks. Well, it would take ages if you were breaking that up into
that's a belter,
20-minute chunks. That's a good one, to be fair.
That's a great one, aye.
Well, I like that for sure, definitely. Okay, luckily it's almost half time. It gives you more time to think about what films you watched.
Well, we do the thing
when you were at school.
We do the number.
Let's do the thing. Go on, Hugh.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2022, 6 players have scored for Celtic or Rangers in a Scottish League Cup semi-final. They are James Tavernier, Scott Wright, Dyson Maeda, Georgios Giacomakis, Ryan Jack and Kemar Roof.
Ooh, some sneaky ones in there. You look confused, Mark.
I got none. I was struggling with that.
None.
I had Forrest written down. That was it, and then struggling. I tried to think Giacomakis.
Had you?
So Wright and Tavernier was last year, was it, against Hearts? That's right. Yeah.
Giacomakis, that
against
Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
Anyway, third place, Charlie Blair. Well done, Charlie. Second was Stephen Bissett. Again, well done, Stephen. But the winner, the gold medalist of your first half teaser, is Matondo. Well done. We'll have a good Who Am I? I know I say that every week, but I think we're trying to just tweak it, make them even harder this week. Like JB, who says in college they watch Straight Outta Compton to teach us about social equality. Would recommend it for the Dazzler, he says.
You like a bit of that?
Up your street? No.
Yeah.
You look confused.
I'm confused. I don't know what that is.
Just leave it there because their half-time whistles are about to go. Alloa 3, Annan 0. Good time to score and all that. It looks like that one is out of sight. Luke Donnelly scoring on the brink of half-time. And speaking of, no surprise, our 3 featured games, the one without VAR has finished first. Championship, Falkirk Morton, David Friel.
Yeah, half time, Gordon, Falkirk 2, Morton 0. Leaders Falkirk in total control at the break, and I think this one is going the way everyone really expected. Morton, to be fair, actually the first effort and goal, Michael Garrity broke through and Nicky Hogarth made a good save, but since then it's pretty much been Falkirk dominance. I think John McGlynn will feel they should have even more goals to show for their play, much of which has been outstanding. Keelan Adams playing right back, he's only 22, came from Cumbernauld Colts in the summer. He's a very, very good player, and he got the opener for the Bairns in 16 minutes. Classy right back, he won a free kick on the wing with some good play. He was in the right place to head in Calvin Miller's delivery. I think the Morton defence were posted missing. Dougie Emily will be asking questions about that. Miller on the right and Ethan Ross on the left have been really good for Falkirk. They try and get the ball to him as much as they can. They've both had chances blocked, they've both created chances. Calvin Miller put a free kick over the bar. Morton keeper Lewis Budanokis also had to make a really good double save from Ross. Michael Garrity broke again, he tested Hogarth again, but Falkirk continued to push for a second goal, and there was no surprise when it arrived in 37 minutes. Some really nice passing, created space for Miller on the right. He jinked inside and picked out Ross. He's not the tallest, but his glancing header found the bottom corner. Could be a long second half for Morton. Falkirk in total control. Half time, Falkirk 2, Morton 0.
Yes, the league leaders in control as you would expect. They just keep impressing. Mark Wilson.
Yep. And you know what, there's method behind it though. You know, the way that they play. We keep going on about this and what is good football to watch, because we all say, yeah, what's the trap? You know, they've got people who will make forward runs, will play forward, they'll interchange, they've often got an end product. And again, today they've got an end product. So a lot of work goes into that. And well done to the players. And well done to John McGunn, because he didn't rip up the full squad, did he, last year? Kind of kept the crux of it together and then just added 1 or 2, I think. So they look odds on to win that league at the moment. And you can't see anybody really troubling them at this stage.
Yeah, they're certainly flying. They're playing with confidence. They're winning games. They're sitting top of the league. They're scoring the most goals in the league, which helps. They're not conceding a lot. They've only conceded 8 goals, and it looks like another comfortable 3 points in the bag this afternoon for them.
They've also got a big fan base. They've got a good ground. They will bring something to the league with the greatest respect, more than Livy will bring to it, more than Ayr United will bring to it. But the main reason why they deserve to be there is they play the best football.
Do you know what, their Astro pitch is actually one of the better ones? Yeah.
It's not often I give you team news from games on the continent, but what did we say about the Scotland squad on Monday?
Gilmore,
Lewis Ferguson subbed on for Bologna. Back. I don't even know if he played a part, but they scored just after he came on, so we'll take it as a good sign. What about Perth then? That's finished, or the first half's finished. Roger Hannah.
It has indeed. Gordon St Johnson 0, Hearts 1 at the break, and Neil Critchley's under fire Jambos, who started the day bottom of the Premiership table, have taken a deserved lead into the break here at McDermott Park. They could have been ahead, probably should have been ahead in 16 minutes. Poor clearance by the Saints goalkeeper Ross Sinclair. It was seized upon by Benny Beningame. A couple of quick passes fed to Lauren Shanklin 12 yards out, and the Scotland striker fired wide when he really should have hit the target. At the other end, St Johnson's best chance of the half, a free kick 20 yards out. The new club captain Nicky Clark fizzed it over the ball, and a good save by Craig Gordon, pushing it round the post. There was more woe to befall Clark in 23 minutes. A corner on the left hand side for Hearts. An initial corner from Blair Spittle had come out to Alan Forrest in the edge of the box. He hit a fierce shot that was deflected wide for another corner in the same place. Spittle swung it into the near post. Clark glanced at it and it flew past his own goalkeeper Ross Sinclair and just inside the far post. Hearts almost repeated the trick 5 minutes later. Another set piece in the left by Spittle. This time it was Jan Danda making a near post run, a nice little flick, and it just flew across the face of goal with no takers and beyond the far post. Hearts well on top at this stage, just couldn't quite test Sinclair as much as would have liked, and they almost lost an equaliser just before the break. A smart turn by Adama Sidame in the inside right channel, but he lashed a shot carelessly wide of Gordon's near post. He had far more time than he appreciated. Saints will need to do a lot better in front of goal in the second half if they're to get anything for Simo Valakari. At the break, it's St Johnstone 0, Hearts 1.
Well, there we go. It's not been full, jam-packed full of incident, but that Nicky Clark own goal has separated the sides there at the break. Only one other 3 o'clock game in the Premiership. You will get your half-time report from St Mirren Ross County after these.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time in the 3 o'clock games. Let's get the half-time report from Fraser, who's watched St Mirren and Ross County.
St Mirren 0, Ross County 0. A really poor 45 minutes, to be honest. Neither team looked like scoring. Ross County one shot at goal, and that wasn't even on target, and St Mirren couldn't even score when they awarded a penalty. Greg Kilty was the guilty man. The ball just been battered from back to front, trying to get onto second balls. And we did get the ball on the ground. Too many slack passes, turning possession over. Almost nothing to talk about of any kind of note. 22 minutes, our first attempt at goal. This ball fell to Elvis Bomono in the box. His shot was blocked by a Josh Reid tackle. In 28 minutes, James Scott got his head to a Scott Tanzer cross 12 yards out, but no power in it, straight into the arms of Laidlaw. But then St Mirren had that glorious opportunity to take the lead in the 35th minute. John Beaton, the VAR referee, sent Don Robertson to the screen for what was a tug on Marcus Fraser as the big defender jumped for a corner. He was tugged by Eli Campbell. Penalty was given. Greg Kilty stepped up, but it was a poor effort, not a clean strike. Straight down the middle and saved by Ross Laidlaw's legs as he dived to his right. The only Ross County effort in 40 minutes, a low James Brown cross swept over the bar by Jordan White from 14 yards. Olasanya then hit the bar just on the break, but the assistant referee had his flag up for quite some time before he got his shot away. I have to say, you can look on the bright side though. The consolation is the second half can only be better. It can't possibly be any worse. Half time in Paisley, St Mirren 0, Ross County 0.
Let's do a quick run through of the half-time scores then. Easy in the Premiership, St Johnstone 0, Hearts 1, and St Mirren 0, Ross County 0. In the Championship, Airdrie 0, Hamilton Accies 2, Dunfermline 0, Partick Thistle 0, Falkirk 2, Morton 0, and Livingston 0, Queen's Park 0. Into League 1, it's finished. Dumbarton 0, Cove Rangers 3. At the break, Alloa 3, Annan 0, Arbroath 1, Stenhousemuir 0, Inverness 1, Kelty 1, Queen of the South 1, Montrose 0. In League 2, Clyde 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 1, Edinburgh City 1, Forfar Athletic 0, Elgin City 1, Stranraer 0, and Peterhead 1, Spartans 1. The second halves of the 3 o'clock games are coming up, and we will go to Hampden next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Land Rover. Looking to sell your Land Rover? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Duncan are in the studio. We've got the top team around about 3 featured matches that kicked off at 3 o'clock. St Mirren 0, Ross County 0, St Johnstone 0, Hearts 1, and Falkirk 2, Morton 0 is your Championship offering. I know many of you though are having your attentions wander to Hampden with a 5:30 kickoff. So let's take our first visit there whilst we get the second halves underway.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
Right, we'll keep you up to speed if any early drama happens in these second halves round about the grounds. But let's go to Hampden because the stage is set. We're not far away from team news. Celtic and Aberdeen in the first of the League Cup semi-finals, and Gabriel is ready to go.
Yeah, good evening, Gordon, from the National Stadium. what a game we have coming up here. The two teams are just walking out to the pitch now, getting their feet on the grass for the first time. You've got to say the pitch looks immaculate. Fans, the very first supporters, just starting to drift into the stadium as well. And what a game we have here. The Premier Sports Cup semi-final between undoubtedly the country's best two teams at the moment, Celtic and Aberdeen, both unbeaten domestically. The only blemish on their form books was the 2-2 draw between each other 2 weeks ago in Glasgow. So much hype for this one, and you can understand why. 15 wins from 16 for Jimmy Thielen, a start that not one Aberdeen supporter could have dreamed of when he arrived in the summer. Celtic, we know all about their record at Hampden, Gordon. Over the last decade, it's frightening. Brendan Rodgers' record at the National Stadium is flawless. 11 wins from 11. Something has to give today. These teams have met 3 times in 2024. 1-1, 3-3 and 2-2 were the scores. What will happen in the fourth and final meeting of the year? We know the referee is going to be Kevin Clancy, the VAR will be Andrew Dallas, and the team news, Gordon, should be about 15 minutes away.
What would the main talking points be, Gabriel? What should people be looking out for in that team news when it comes?
Well, from a Celtic perspective, it'll be interesting to see if Captain Callum McGregor is back in the lineup. You'd expect he was, and I've got my eyes on him right now. He's just walking in the centre circle with what it looks like is Greg Taylor. He's had an adductor problem for the last week, so it hasn't been risked, but you'd expect him to start at the base of midfield. Other players likely to come back in. Nicholas Kuhn, he's been out for a couple of games just with a slight knock. You'd think he'd start on the right wing. And Adam Eder, will Brendan Rodgers throw him into the lineup after his ankle knock? Celtic fans, remember Eder's contribution in the Scottish Cup final at this stadium at the end of May, scoring the winner against Rangers. So it'll be interesting to see what Rodgers does there. For Aberdeen, do they stick with the same 11 that beat Rangers on Wednesday night? What a win that was. What a night that was up at Pittodrie, rocking like it's not been for years. Be really interesting to see if he sticks with that 11 and if it has taken a toll on them, because it must have been such an exertion of all of their energy and, you know, just such a psychological night for them, Gordon. But they've got to pick themselves up and go again. But they've been fine doing that so far this campaign. As we know, 15 wins from 16. So the Dons team news as well should be about 4:15.
Not long to wait. Until then, you can tweet us your thoughts. Would you bring Cameron Carter-Vickers into the heart of the defence, Celtic fans? Who would start at left back, Greg Taylor or Alex Valle? Does Callum McGregor come back in, take his place? If so, alongside who? Because still somebody needs to miss out. So give us all your thoughts, please, and we'll get the team news very soon. What you did miss while we were at Hampden is one of these in our featured match.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Certainly featured in the Championship, and it is cruise control now for Falkirk. Falkirk 3, Morton 0. Brad Spencer on 46 minutes, seconds after the restart. John's boy, as he's referred to, scoring there, and that will be that. Hugh Keevins.
Yes, and deservedly so for John McGlynn's team. Now they look down beneath them, see how Livy get on. Ayr lost last night, so they've lost ground. Partick Thistle haven't scored yet at the Fairman, so it could be a very good day for John McGlynn.
A couple of changes at the break that might be of interest to you in our featured games. St Johnstone have changed their keeper at half time with Josh Ray in for Ross Sinclair. Now I know they've had goalkeeping issues. You would still assume that's injury rather than form. Don't recall many goalies getting swapped at half time. 2 St Mirren subs, Ayunga and McMenamin on, Bomono and Scott off, trying to spark something into life there. Anyway, we heard from Gabriel at Hampden. The next time we hear from him, he will have the team news. So give us your thoughts before we get the final answer.
I think Celtic will have Schmeichel in goal, Alistair Johnson, Carter Vickers, Trusty and Taylor.
You think Liam Scales left out?
Yep.
Wow.
Hatate, McGregor and Engels. And if it were me, Kuhn, Kyogo, Maeda.
I'll go for the same front line, the same midfield, but I think Scales will play at left centre back, Trusty out, and Greg Taylor for left back.
Carter Vickers plays.
Carter Vickers
Scales
plays, yeah.
for you.
I'm going with Mark. Same team.
Okay.
No messing about.
Right, well, we'll find out. Not too distant future. You wonder just as kind of normal physically, if there was a knock or anything. Does Wednesday night being a suppose it could play a part for Celtic because they played, but Aberdeen having a more strenuous evening, you wonder if that impacts their team news at all.
No, I think he'll go with his strongest side. It's a semi-final.
That's what I mean. Maybe one of them just feeling a bit.
Yeah, look, I think that if Aberdeen were playing a domestic game, say they were at Ross County or whatever, I think you would see maybe a wee sort of a drop off in energy levels. This is a semi-final and a full Hampden against the top team in Scotland just now. They're flying high. What a scalp this would be. What is
his strongest team though? Because at Celtic Park he started with Clarkson and Nesbitt, and then he changed at half time, got his rewards for that. And then on Wednesday Sokler and Duke started.
But Nesbitt wasn't fit, and I don't think he'll play. I think he'll start with Sokler this afternoon.
Kind of showing he can call on anyone though.
Yeah, Morris come on and showed great pace and got goals.
The league's top scorer, by the way, is still Papa Gay.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Who's been out injured for ages.
I can't believe that.
But I tell you, Shayden Morris, I would definitely start, because he does the business against Dundee United last Saturday evening, and he gets a goal again against Rangers.
Is there a danger though that you become such an effective impact player?
Yeah,
that's where he is.
Isn't it?
That's where he is. He'll play Duke. Unless, because Duke went off, he looked like he'd been off with an injury, didn't he?
This is a paid advertisement from BetterHelp. We're probably all guilty of not taking enough moments in our life to say thank you to someone important, someone who makes a difference. For me, of course, I've got family and friends I can speak to, but what about the family in here? As much as we get nonsense from the likes of Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel on this show, it is really important, seriously, to take a moment and realise the difference having a laugh with your friends can make and escape whatever else is going on. So I'd like to shout out to them both and all the other pundits in the show for keeping me and hopefully you entertained every night. And this month with BetterHelp, it's all about gratitude. So along with the likes of Mark and Daz, the other person we don't get to thank enough is ourselves. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself, because you're listening to the Super Scoreboard podcast. You're obviously already got pretty sound judgment. Remember to tell yourself that there are so many benefits to using BetterHelp for therapy. It's not just for people who've experienced serious trauma in their lives. There are great tips for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, and just be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. With over 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/SSB. That's betterhelp.com/SSB.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ooh, it could get ugly this for Morton. Falkirk 4, Morton 0 with only 52 minutes gone, and it is Gary Oliver. It's a nice turn and finish. There was a corner not quite cleared. Falkirk just looking on a different level from their opponents today. They're 4-0 up and not even close to the hour mark.
Well, they are separated by almost the length of the league, and they are, Falkirk, simply underlining that gap in quality. And they more. Well, Livy have scored though, which I
meant to say that. Sorry, Livy have taken the lead against Queen's Park.
So
Stevie May.
It might not be the perfect day, but never mind the rest of them. It's the perfect day for John McGlynn and his team.
Yep, absolutely flying. We were just discussing events at Hampden later. Celtic and Aberdeen players there, having a look at the pitch. We'll get the team news soon. Why not hear some brief thoughts from the managers?
It's a great credit to them in their first sort of 10 league games that they've played with that consistency and done really, really well. They've got really good players. Jimmy clearly has come in and done a fantastic job. They've got really good coaching staff behind the scenes as well.
All the teams today, a lot of information is out there. They're so good scouting systems. Everybody know a lot about each other. So for us it's more to we know what they're good at. We know the strengths. So for us it's more about trying to be even better in our parts of the game, have a strong belief in what we're gonna do, and keep working on that. And then the game is there, and it's a cup game. It's winning or losing, and we have to have a strong belief in what we're doing, as usual. Brendan is a good coach. Celtic is a good team, but also we have to have we know the situation. It's a semi-final, so we have to prepare ourselves for that one.
Team news very, very soon. I would suspect a bit of a clash of heads at St Mirren. Hopefully the Ross County players are OK, let's do your second half teaser, Hugh.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
We'll see how quickly an inflatable chicken is on this one.
I'm not even bothered today.
I have played alongside Stephen Pressley and Basil Bolly. I've won international and domestic trophies, including all 3 in Scotland. And I was the first player from my country to play for my Glasgow side. Who am I? Played alongside Stephen Pressley and Basil Bolly. Won international and domestic trophies, including all 3 in Scotland. And I was the first player from my country to play for my Glasgow side. Who am I?
Good question, I like it. At Clyde SSB, the race begins now. So try and come up with the right answer. Send us a tweet at Clyde SSB. You have to get it right. You have to do it quicker than everyone else. So even if it takes you to the end of the half, though, you'll still have the satisfaction of getting it right. So tweet us at Clyde SSB. Speaking of the inflatable chicken, in case that reference was lost on you, of course Thursday was Halloween. Of course you know which of the pundits dressed as an inflatable chicken. It was of course Gordon Dalziel, but he couldn't quite fit into the seat because of the inflatable suit. He couldn't get his headphones on. He then fell off the chair. He's actually going to put in a claim, I think, against the company for being injured in the workplace.
Digby's been on the phone.
But if you want to see the footage, and let's be honest, why wouldn't you? You can see it over on our social media feeds, whatever, Twitter at Clyde SSB, Instagram, it will be on the YouTube channel as well. It is obviously worth seeing. I mean, you don't really need me to tell you that. I'll repeat it. Gordon Dalziel in a chicken costume falling off his chair. What's more to like? Your reaction, Mark Wilson. You think about helping him and then you just burst out laughing.
I was concerned.
I'll show you where.
Because I could see you going, but I was the third when you hit the floor. Even with that inflatable suit.
Can I just say, actually losing track. You know, Falkirk are now 5-0 up.
5.
Sorry, carry on.
Brilliant.
The chicken has got a severe bruising.
I'll show
you at half time here.
No, you're okay.
On your old tailbone.
I have to say, I liked it. Johnny tweeted, he's saying he's calling Thursday night soup night.
Soup night, chicken soup.
Soup night. Oh,
chicken and mushroom.
You like
that?
Yeah.
You're thinking there.
I've got it.
Super scoreboard.
Oh, he's tight on.
I made that bit up myself. Just like, you know what I mean? Like SOUP.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
Great, brilliant. Anyway, the chicken. Your injuries.
I'm injured. Yeah, my struggle with my golf today. I'm really sore. Honestly,
imagine that on the golf course. What's wrong with you? Well, what happened was I was dressed as a chicken, and then
I showed everybody I had.
You're a good sport. I like that.
I liked how you just ripped the chicken outfit off and just left it lying on the studio floor.
No wonder.
There.
And with the pump still on, I could still hear the pump.
So good.
Just to the head.
By the way,
it's still blowing away in there.
No, the worst it is, how does that poor lad from Bellshill feel today? I beat him. I beat the pundit with a chicken.
I know. He was hopeless, wasn't
he? Not everything is going well for Morton. Obviously they're 5-0 down at Falkirk, and when Kirk Broadfoot was subbed off, a bit of a spat there with Dougie Imrie on his way off. So two passionate men, shall we say? Can't imagine any
bit of
any like to mess back with Big Kirk. He looks after himself, doesn't he?
Bit of a height difference there as well, you know.
He's a fit lad.
Dougie's a wee
terrier
guy. Yeah, he'll
get a bit the ankles.
He'll he'll have his sleeves rolled up.
He's got all the noises.
I don't even know what noise that was.
What was that noise?
I don't know. A
chihuahua.
A gremlin.
A gremlin.
Some big scores in the making in the Championship. Airdrie 0, Hamilton Accies 3. Trying to keep up with Falkirk, but not quite. Great save, Craig Gordon from Adama Sidibe's header. It's all St Johnstone. Completely different game now.
Yeah. Well, you know, Neil Critchley's had his luck for the day with Nicky Clark's own goal, so you're going to have to work to turn the scoreline into a result.
By the way, just on that Airdrie and Hamilton game as well, John Rankin has to get credit because of course they come up through the playoffs last year where Airdrie were, you know, miles ahead of them and done really well. So
you like Wee John, don't you?
He's a great guy.
You bum him up in this show every single week.
He's a good guy.
Come on, give us it. How many Pepsis does he drink a year?
Oh, just one.
Come on,
it's not Pepsi, it's Coke.
Do you know why though?
Right, okay, so he does it for a special occasion?
No, forget that. What's behind this recent over-the-top praise of John Rankin?
Oh, is he playing with them in the Masters?
Correct.
So yes,
you didn't even realise.
I didn't know that.
Dundee United's Masters team. Please, John, pass me the ball, John. I say nice things about you in the radio.
Do you know what? I introduced him to the team. He's got a lot to thank me for.
I'm telling you now, you've no shame, right? What's embarrassing about this? You played with Celtic last year and they won it, right?
Yeah, winner's medal.
You've been demoted. You've been demoted to Dundee United.
I see it as a badge of honour. They wanted to get the United fans through the door, so they needed some big names, and they went for Gary Kenneth and John Daly, and they thought, no, we need somebody bigger.
Someone needs to tell me genuinely, has anyone ever gone back-to-back Masters appearances but for different teams?
Has anybody won it for different teams? That's the goal.
That's a red.
You could be the new.
Well, I'm taking the medal. I'm taking the winner's medal to inspire. To inspire. I won it last year.
You could be like Paul Hartley.
Yeah.
Remember he won the Scottish Cup with Hearts then
went
Celtic,
to Celtic
the very next season.
I just hope Dumbarton never get in it. I really do.
I'll be there, mate.
Dumbarton,
son of the rock.
Oh, son of the rock. They were looking for a big name.
Did I just hear Gordon Duncan say to somebody, "You've got no shame"?
I know, it's incredible, isn't it? Doesn't do irony. This
guy. Are you going
to
come up?
Oh, here he goes. Look, a double celebration now.
Oh, there we are.
Your employer,
what did I tell you? One goal will win that one.
Your employer
Scott
has
Robinson.
taken the lead. Dunfermline 0, Partick Thistle 1. Scott Robinson, indeed.
Good lad, good player by the way, Scott Robinson.
But Queen's Park have equalised at Livy, so could yet be a very good day for an even better day for 5-goal John McGlynn.
Yep. Ooh, we've got team news from Hampden, and I'm just trying to figure out. Is nobody right, Gabriel? I think none of them have got it.
Gordon, it is a mix of team news here at Hampden Park. 6 changes for Brendan Rodgers, but none of Hugh, Mark or Gordon were spot on. The changes in: Alistair Johnson, Alex Baye at left back, Callum McGregor does return to the team along with Reo Hatate, Nicholas Kuhn is on the right and Dyson Maida is on the left. So the 11 is as follows. It's Kasper Schmeichel in goal, the Alistair Johnson right back, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty stay at centre half, but it's Alex Baye who plays left back. Callum McGregor, Reo Hatate and Arne Engels are the midfield 3. Nicholas Kuhn, Dyson Maida and Kyogo are up top. Substitutes: Sinisalo, Taylor, Scales, Palmer, Ida, Yang, Bernardo, Forrest and Ralston.
So none of you got the left back right.
Or the left centre back.
Hugh got the left centre back right. He said Austin Trusty would play, but none of you got the back 4. I think, both interesting. Let's start in the middle. You predicted it, Hugh, but Liam Scales, he's done very little, if anything, wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't start a cup semi-final.
I think Trusty's performance against Atalanta was an eye-opener.
Was it any better than Scales's though?
For Brendan Rodgers, I think he sees the USA partnership, and he's obviously going to give it a go and see if they are suitable for each other as they are at international level. So I'm not surprised by that. I know that Liam Scales has a big following among the Celtic support. They love him, but I think Brendan Rodgers is of a mind to see if Carter Vickers and Trusty is his real partnership going forward.
Wonder if it's a risk though. For this game. I know that was maybe the idea when he signed Trusty, but Scales has been performing well this year, and to see if it's working to put it into a semi-final, bit of a risk. But
well, again, you buy a centre back for 6 million or 7 million pounds,
and he keeps a clean sheet in Bergamo.
Yeah, you know, Scales is a story that the Celtic fans love. From Shamrock Rovers to Celtic Park to the Champions League, and they love him for the down to earth aggression and vigour that he brings to the team. But as I say, you've now got a central defensive partnership that have cost Celtic £12 million to put together.
So are you surprised with Greg Taylor being left out, Hugh?
I am, yeah, because I think Greg Taylor is simply at this stage better than Alex Baye, who's still a young guy. still has a
I
mistake
think he
in him.
showed great promise. Going forward, I think he's been excellent. Do you know what? I'm not surprised with the Greg Taylor one. I'm surprised that Scales has been left out. And I totally get that Cameron Carter-Vickers had to play. He's the best centre-half in the club. I think Trusty's starting to really show great promise, and they've brought him in for a lot of money. But it must have been a real tough call, that, because Scales has been absolutely brilliant for him.
I really don't want to look beyond a cup semi-final. I think that's wrong, but I would be keen to know if already Brendan Rodgers thought about midweek and the Scales play that one
against Leipzig.
Yeah. Or if these two do so well today, then they stay in anyway.
That's the hard thing. If you're pre-planning for next week and Trusty and Carter-Vickers are outstanding, that just goes out the window.
Well, listen, Carter-Vickers will play if he's fit on Tuesday anyway. So
you would say so.
But you know,
but again, the same with Valley as well. If he's outstanding today, he's every right to keep his place for Tuesday night.
But then he played in Bergamo, didn't he?
He did.
Whereas, you know, so did Scales.
Yeah. Look, it's an interesting one. He's utilising the full squad. Midfield area, I thought it would be Engels, Hatate and McGregor, and same with the front line. But
what about Aberdeen, Gordon? Have we got that?
We do indeed. Gabriel, would you like to give us Aberdeen's team?
Yes, certainly, Gordon. It was a dream start to the season, and it peaked on Wednesday night with that 2-1 win over Rangers, and the faith has been kept by manager Jimmy Tillin. He sticks with the exact 11 that he fielded 3 days ago. So it's Dimitar Mitov in goal, a defence of Nicky Devlin, Slobodan Rubišić, Gavin Malloy and Jack McKenzie. Graham Shinney and Silbert Heltlet Nielsen are the midfield two, with Jamie McGrath just in front of them. Toby Keskinen and Duker out wide. Esther Sockler leads the line. Substitutes: Duhan, Clarkson, McGarry, Bazuyan, Palaversa, Morris, Milne, McDonald and Ambrose.
Well, unchanged, Hugh, which you can't grumble in the sense they did a good job the other night.
I think you called it correctly with regard to Shayden Morris. He's clearly seen by Jimmy Tillin as the impact sub. So it's up to Celtic to make sure that the impact sub can be of no use to Aberdeen, because Celtic would be so far in front. But I repeat, it's going to be an epic cup tie. I'd be astonished if we weren't all thrilled by it all.
Just what Gordon kind of alluded to this earlier. If at some point, though, the obvious difference between Celtic and Aberdeen, maybe it's not today, but Celtic can play midweek and make 6 changes, but in a way the team's stronger, because obviously, you know, it's Callum McGregor coming back in and others, whereas Aberdeen keep the same team because they've done so well, and credit to them. But that's a tough night on Wednesday, and asking them to go again, and they might be able to, because cup semi and adrenaline and all that. But just a reminder, in case people had lost their minds and forgotten the difference in resources between the two.
Yeah, that's why I think today that Celtic will win this cup tie, Gordon. I've been very impressed with Aberdeen. If Aberdeen were playing at Ross County or any other team domestically today, they would have freshened that up and made changes. But that, for me, right now, is his strongest 11. It's a semi-final. He knows what he's going to get out of them. Now, there may be a few tired legs later on, but the semi-final, full house at Hampden. Aberdeen will have a terrific support down, backing them. They'll get the energy from that. But I just think maybe it's another game that you've got to go to the well, and it'll be interesting to see if these players can produce. But I just think with Celtic, freshen it up, 6 changes, the quality they've brought in as well, I think they'll have more than enough.
I think with Aberdeen, you look at their players, their front line, they've got bags of pace in there to trouble Celtic, and it's something that Jimmy Tillin has relied upon since he's came in. You know, you look at Keskinen, you look at Sockler, Duke, certainly made an impact at Celtic Park, those two. But you could see it the other night, you know, as soon as they break forward. Devlin as well is quick over large distances, so once he gets going, you'll often find him in the opposition box. McKenzie maybe sits a wee bit deeper, but certainly gets wide. So they're good at throwing bodies forward, but they've got a solid structure as well at the back. Rubišić, no nonsense defender, struck up a good partnership at the central defence with Malloy. It's a good team, a strong team, and a team that can cause Celtic problems if they're on their day.
Possibly a St Johnstone penalty. We don't really know exactly why, but Referee Chris Graham going over to the screen. So you would imagine that ends one way, but they are still checking. Gordon, we said City would sort it out. Bournemouth have gone 2-0 up.
Oh, it's a bad day for the Blues.
I'll tell you who it's a bad day for though as well. Liverpool, because of the Seagulls still beating them.
They are.
Yeah. So
you could have a day,
opportunity.
Could have a day that ends with two from the seaside, Bournemouth and Brighton, beating Man City and Liverpool. Amazing.
Yes, it's two big results down south, and Arsenal losing today as well.
So they did
in the
against
early
Newcastle.
kick-off against Newcastle. So the big three, it's not going very well for them so far this afternoon.
St Johnstone penalty, a chance to equalise from the spot. Remember, Nicky Clark's own goal had Hearts ahead early on.
Does he take them?
He's going to take them, isn't he?
I think
he's a skipper.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
You think the captain should just take everything, don't you? Because you were the captain.
Yeah.
That took everything.
Well, I decided.
You didn't decide who the penalty taker was.
That was me.
Of course it was.
The most talented boy in the pitch. With the armband, that's what was called respect, Mark.
Respect.
That's why I lifted trophies with that armband. Trophies. I won the championship that year. It was a double.
Yeah, it is Nicky Clark to
Can't
take.
be counting the championship as a trophy.
Look,
Frankie Kent booked, so it is Nicky Clark to take and try and get St Johnstone level. He'll have to beat Craig Gordon, of course, in the Hearts goal. And we did say it's been a second half where St Johnstone have looked the more likely, so they might get the rewards from the penalty spot after that VAR check. VAR Alan Muir called Chris Graham over to the screen. Frankie Kent was booked, penalty given. Nicky Clark steps up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Game on in Perth then. St Johnstone won, Hearts won with about 20, in fact probably over 20 minutes still to go.
Well, you've been telling us, Gordon, that it's been all St Johnstone, so they've got themselves level, and it'll be quite the finish for Neil Critchley and the Hearts supporters, and I'll guarantee there'll be a huge Hearts support there, but they will not take kindly to a second defeat in a row, so we better be careful.
We've had a nightmare. Did we do the second half teaser at all?
Yes.
Oh, we did. That's fine. I thought we'd left it so late. I knew we left it late initially. I forgot that we actually did get it up and running. A reminder of the question while we're here, Hugh, then, see if anyone's got it yet.
I have played alongside Stephen Presley and Basil Bowley. I have won international and domestic trophies, including all three in Scotland, and I was the first player from my country to play for my Glasgow team. Who am I?
Okay, good question. Lots of good answers coming in. Dom thinks it's Jerome Bonicell.
No.
Bryzo thinks it's Craig Moore.
No, not Oz.
JB thinks Lionel Charbonnier.
Nope.
Loads of people. The most common wrong one, Dylan Gorey, GMRFC. Who else thinks it as well? Graham, Deborah Bennett, Alexei Mikhailichenko.
No.
Okay,
as
not
Liverpool
Alexei Mikhailichenko.
Grandkids
Spell it.
plunged into despair.
I've gave it to Mark to see if he could take the glory.
You've given him a wrong answer.
That's too late.
Is it?
Aye. I knew that wasn't right.
I was unlucky.
Basil Bowley. Remember when Bowley played?
Remember the
92, 93.
incident with Stuart Pearce?
Basil Bowley with Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, he headbutted him and his eye went up. Oh, I remember that. France v England. I don't know if it was at Wembley or it was in France. I can't remember that. But you
remember
not
the
remember
headbutt?
it?
No, I don't remember.
Genuinely no idea what you're on.
It's famous.
No.
Famous. Yeah, ask Roger
No,
Reid.
listen up.
Oh, look at that turnaround for Liverpool.
I know. They won it 2-1.
Aye.
Oh, the grandkids will not be happy now, Hugh.
I will take your word for it. This famous headbutt.
Basil Bowley. What happened to Marseille? Did they won the Champions League, but was there not something
Yeah, it
up
was,
with Basil Bowley being registered or something like that? No? Have I got that right?
Marseille were involved in match fixing.
Ah, right, okay. I thought Basil Bowley played in that team. Did he score the winner in the Champions League final? There's something to do with Basil Bowley in that team. I'm convinced.
Right. I think you're right. He was certainly involved. Anyway, right, the goals are going in down the leagues. Peterhead 2, Spartans 1. Max Barry's penalty, the difference between the sides. Hugh mentioned the big nope, Gordon Dalziel. You can tell us who you guessed there, since it was wrong. Hurry up.
Petric.
No.
Gordon Petric.
Gordon.
Played against him? You must have played against Petric.
No.
Gordon Petrich.
When did he play?
In your era?
No, he did not.
Gordon Petrich?
Yeah.
I did.
I think he was just after Daz.
Just after me. After I retired in 19... I don't know when I retired.
Well, that's the end of that story then, isn't it?
96.
Yeah, well, he played 95. He was at Rangers 95 to 98.
96 I retired.
Okay.
But I was at Ayr. I was a
And he was
manager.
at Hearts in 99 to 2001.
Oh, that was my first game at Tynecastle. I might have played. I must have gave him a hard time.
Forget about that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Anyway, get your guesses going. There's a lot of good ones coming in.
I'm struggling with that one. I got it in record time last week as well.
Yeah.
Not today. Not on the ball.
Would you say we knew him, Hugh?
Yeah. He's not.
He's
an
a
obscure,
household name.
Obviously for supporters of a Glasgow team.
What do you mean by like household name? I mean, he's well known, but
yeah.
I don't think we're not like.
So everybody, when they hear their name, go, I remember him.
Well, it depends what age you are, I would say.
Right, okay.
He would not come under the heading of obscure,
but similarly not
famous.
Not like a legend of the game or anything up here. Anyway, right, so let's see what we've got on the teaser. Keep them coming at Clyde SSB. Still waiting on more goals. We've given you team news from Hampden. You can tweet us your thoughts on that, Celtic fans, Aberdeen fans, if you so wish. And don't forget, we're not that far away from opening the phone lines where you can have your say. And Rangers fans, you can give us the latest as well on your thoughts today.
I mean, we had a debate about the Celtic team and the changes made there, but the Rangers team tomorrow, my goodness, that will be the subject of hot speculation. And the manager had better get it right.
The tombola will just be getting warmed up as we speak, Hugh, for that back four. Could be anybody. And that is a problem. I'll keep coming back to it. If you've not got a consistent back line, you end up with performances like the Rangers fans are seeing at the minute. So it could be anybody. It could be Jeff at left back. Will Tavernier play? Who's your centre half pairing? Is Proper come back in, or is he just at the picture now? Nobody knows.
I'd find it astonishing if Proper come back in, having been subbed at Ibrox and having not been trusted to play at Pittodrie.
I actually feel like he might do, because I know you're like, I'm the one that keeps raising the point about not being trusted to play at Pittodrie, but he's going to play again. He's not going to just stay out the team forever.
Got a spectacular own goal against Motherwell early in the season,
and it's not like leaving him out the other night worked either. Ultimately, if it had done, then maybe he'd stick with it, but we will see. We will see indeed. Right, still we still goalless in Paisley.
Yep.
Oh, Fraser's having a bad day.
St. 0, Ross County 0, St Johnstone 1, Hearts 1, Falkirk 5, Morton 0 in our featured championship match.
Fraser's been treated for conjunctivitis while he's watching it.
I timed him at half time, 1 minute 40 seconds, right? Worth, and probably 3 at full time. That's probably what he's given us this afternoon.
3 minutes.
No, he'll do 3 at full time. He'll spin it out a wee bit.
Just for the sense of
drama. 1 minute 40 seconds.
What are you supposed to be, Hugh, in summarising? What you're supposed to be sitting at? There's no limit.
No. How long's a piece of string?
I don't know if you remember the first time I did it away for Clyde at St Johnstone v Aberdeen. It was 4-3 or something, and I was there for ages.
The second half was started.
If it's 7 goals, just tell us about the goals.
I didn't get that memo though, Gordon. I was telling you about goal kicks and everything.
Think how television approaches it. If you've got a 0-0 on your hands, that's the last game you show.
Mark started with, and the home team have won the toss and they will kick left to right.
It was a good kick off from Aberdeen. I hated that job.
I was the worst job in the world, didn't it?
Remember the day we caught you rehearsing Gail Biggery-Amana's name?
Of course, that was a time capsule.
To yourself.
Biggery-Amana.
He was coming on, I was thinking, no, how'd you say this boy's name? No, I didn't like those shifts. Much prefer in here.
I don't know, especially with the names nowadays.
It's the Matalopoulos.
I would just redo the numbers.
I think that's overrated.
Motherwell are going with number 1.
I think that's
and they'll have
overrated
2
as
at 16 and 4 at the back.
Overrated as a difficult one, that I think.
Stamatolopoulos.
Stamatolopoulos.
For a start, at least it sounds like it looks.
Jeff,
which is part of the issue. Usually you're not having to figure anything out as such.
What's the worst one then in the league to pronounce just now?
I mean, to be fair, it might be Stamatolopoulos for the way people. Big goal in Perth.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts have taken the lead again, and it's Kenneth Vargas. He was brought on by Neil Critchley, and it has worked. It's Beningami's pass. He finishes across the goalkeeper. It's a good goal, this one from Hearts, and they needed it, because I think the Hearts fans would have looked at the game being levelled up, panicking about perhaps losing a game, and they might still do, of course, but they've taken the lead. St Johnstone 1, Hearts 2, Kenneth Vargas.
And if that becomes the final result, then they go above Hibs, come off the bottom, go above Hibs, which is always very important. And they would then also they would join Dundee on 9 points, but Hibs would go bottom, having to play Dundee United tomorrow, and you wouldn't trust Hibs to get anything anywhere.
Where is it? Easter Road?
Easter Road, yep.
Not a good game.
There were a lot of people on the teaser saying Alexei Mikhailchenko, and to the point where it was worrying me, because I was looking at the clues and thinking he probably does fit. That, tell me we've not come up with a player that fits, the two players that fit the criteria. However,
no, he did another one that played there.
Oleg Kuznetsov was there first, so he definitely falls down on that criteria anyway. So
I don't think it's him.
No, I think there's been another.
Let me see.
Person of that country.
Yeah.
Which one am I looking at here? The top one.
Yeah.
Auckland. It's not him.
Yeah, okay.
He was Swedish, wasn't he?
Yeah. And Rangers had Swedes before.
I just wonder if it's time
to give a clue.
I give another clue.
You two in here, you're focused on the wrong Glasgow club.
I knew it.
That's a big clue.
Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
Thistle.
Queen's Park.
It says he's won all domestic trophies in Scotland, remember? So I don't think it can be Partick Thistle. No offence, Jags fans, if you're listening.
Hold on. I think I know who it is.
Go for it.
Write it down. Show me you're working. I'm not sure you do, though. I'm really not, I have to say. I'm not confident in you today. Nope. When would Emilio Izagiri have played alongside Basil Bolly?
Oh no, he wouldn't actually. A
50-year-old boy.
I'm just thinking of people from different countries.
That's
see where you're going with that.
Give us another name for a different country. Any country.
Oh, what chance have you got? Maybe there's a big comeback on in England, because Vardiol, he might have been ripped apart by Ben Doak, but he's pulled one back for Man City. Bournemouth 2.
Forest
as
well.
Absolutely
flying. What's the score, Forest?
You know.
Shame on you, Nottingham Forest, because you're nothing, I tell you, compared to Falkirk.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Brad Spencer, edge of the box, scores. Falkirk 6, Morton 0. A nice finish, and my goodness, if a combination of Dougie Imrie and Kirk Broadfoot were angry before, I wonder how they're feeling now.
Well, it's just a disastrous day, but 6 hints at when you're third bottom, could be even maybe second bottom by the end of the evening. That hints at something seriously wrong about the place. So Dougie Imrie, for the first time since he took over at Morton, looks to have big trouble on his hands.
Yeah, but credit to Falkirk. You know, you always say, Hugh, when a team goes so far ahead, they can take their foot off the gas and just cruise along the finish line. But certainly not. Falkirk desperate for more, and again, that's down to the managers and the coaches installing that in their team. So well done to them.
That's why I say they will bring something to the top league.
They wouldn't, yeah.
More so than those beneath them, I think.
Long way to go. I think Livingston will be a real danger. There we go.
I was going to say this
there
one as well.
There we go. There's the one there. Say no more. Tick the box.
Yeah, that's it.
I was going to say.
I had to give you numerous clues. It's 20 to 5.
He was on his phone there. You must have been checking, like,
no, it's
just
text.
a text or
It's
something.
That person
no.
is.
Yeah. No, I was checking
been...
what country he was from before I produced it.
Well done.
Your old, one of your favourite players of all time, Hugh. One of your favourite players from all time, Hugh Jiggy, has sent a message in asking if it's Lubo.
No, it's not Lubo.
It's not him either.
No.
Okay. Right.
Go on. What did you say about Lubo again?
Because
anytime he's named
even that, we've done that one today. Come on, even I'm bored of that.
I know. I mean, 25 years.
I mean, a wee bit here.
I could have murdered Lubo. I'd be out by now.
You did in your first article.
Yeah,
it was a 150 word piece as part of a column, and Lubo laughs at it. I met Lubo, and as I told you, on my 70th birthday, Lubo sent me a nice bottle of gin.
Oh, very nice.
Lubo Moravchik gin.
Spiked it.
Yeah.
No, it was one of the strangest things.
I know it was a clear colour. Were you sure it was gin?
I know. The strangest thing ever for me was seeing Lubo, obviously, when I had retired and meeting up at somebody's things, standing with a pint of Guinness and a cigarette. You've got it in your head.
Hero. Is that your hero growing
and you're
up?
thinking, this guy's just a normal guy. How do you have that magic in him? He's just standing, relaxed as you like. What a guy.
I can't think of Guinness anymore without thinking about us at the airport about to go to Germany, and Gordon Duncan tried to split to the G.
I was unlucky, wasn't I?
Drank about half the pint and nearly spewed all over the departures.
Yeah, man, another one. That
was good.
Reload. That was before he even got off the tarmac. Yeah.
Do you know who I seen doing that the other day in TikTok? Brian Robson. Brilliant. Right on the split the thing.
Good on him.
On TikTok. Listen, you're too old for TikTok.
I'm TikToked
You
up.
need to stay off that, mate.
I'm TikTok up.
Love it.
What do you watch?
I just flick through everything from politics to everything.
You had me absolutely terrified there, I have to say.
That was close.
I always get down to the P's for politics.
When you went for PO, I was really, really panicking. Politics.
The alphabet.
Politics.
Politics, man.
I'm right into that.
Into the politics,
yeah,
are you?
I'm big time now.
Right. The UK or American?
Oh, UK. I'm more interested in my own country.
Whoa.
Who's the new leader of the Tory party?
I want to fight for my own. Well, soon it gave up, didn't it? So it's it's the other one. What do you call him?
Sadly, no, it's not a him.
What do you call her? I don't know.
Right.
No,
So
into the
you're
politics.
right in politics, but they chose a
See,
new
if I'm
leader.
being honest,
I only chose it. I only chose it the other day. I've not been on for a couple.
if I'm
of
being honest,
Chose it at 11 o'clock this morning.
Right, well, I've not been on. I go on tonight.
he goes on late at night.
Yeah.
I see.
You've ruined this for him, right?
Aye.
It's like giving the ending away to a programme.
I've told you before, I'm worried what the TikTok algorithms are going to do to you. I don't want you looking at politics on TikTok.
Why?
I think you could get radicalised. I can just see you joining some cause
that
you don't understand, you don't even really believe in, but you've watched 10 videos
I've
on
never
TikTok.
voted in my life.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
I love it.
I can just see you being easily led. But it panics me.
Credit card number. Just insert that.
I'll be walking about the streets of
You
London.
do know that when you click something and you watch it, the algorithm gets all excited, and then it just keeps giving you content along the same line. So you'll see it, you'll think it's all true. I'm just worried about you.
Yeah, I'm worried about myself, to be honest with
It'll
you.
be something pro-chicken.
Yeah, pro chicken. I love that TikTok.
Edinburgh City 2, 4-0. Connor Young with the goal. We are 45 minutes away from kick-off at Hampden. Tweet us your thoughts, please. Celtic fans and Aberdeen fans will open the phones when the 3 o'clock games finish as well, and that will definitely involve you Rangers fans to find out how you're feeling today being a new day and all that sort of stuff, and what your thoughts are on Philippe Clement and tomorrow, and so on. Do give us your thoughts on the phone lines in around about 15 minutes time. Maybe we should put people out of their misery. Hugh Keevins, are you ready?
Yep.
The second half teaser
With the ScottishSun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
goal flag.
I have played alongside Stephen Presley and Basil Bolly. I have won international and domestic trophies, including all 3 in Scotland, and I was the first player from my country to play for my Glasgow side. I am Stefan Mahi.
Stefan Mahi, what a shout that is, I have to say, because I was surprised he was the first Frenchman. Yeah, to play for Celtic, I have to say. There's a few in there that I was impressed with. Yep, definitely well done. Stefan Mahe, the answer to the second half teaser. And the winners looks like third place Brian, well done to you Brian. Second place Martin Riley 75. And Redling MUFC, the winner of the second half teaser. Well done. Do you know what? I think that's one of the best we've done recently.
That was hard.
Purely because I'm looking at the number of responses and the number of different names getting thrown in there. It makes me think it was pitched just right today.
If you bamboozled this guy, then you know you're on the right track, Hugh.
I would say there were 5 right answers. That sounds like a perfect amount. Enough to make the podium. A couple of others, and the rest of you confused. Tartan Baugh thought Brian Laudrup. Jimmy McCarry thought Marvin Andrews. Jamie Dock thought Jonas Tern.
Remember him? Remember that goal against Celtic?
Andy thought Claudio Rayner. So many coming in.
I think Fraser Wishart's match report from St Mirren will be a journalistic classic.
2 minutes in.
We've got 6 goals for Falkirk. We've got Nicky Clark scoring at both ends at Perth, and Hearts appearing to get the winner through Kenneth Vargas. And in Paisley, we've got nothing.
Not a lot, I have to say. St Mirren 0, Ross County 0. Try and polish it up for you as best as we can, but not a great deal happening. We had a penalty in the first half.
County would be delighted at that point on the road. Of course they would be. Just keeps them up there, sitting nice, ticking along. They'd be happy with that because St Mirren were going into this in good form. Good result the other night there against St Johnstone. So
remember the lesser spotted Celtic striker Vakun Bayo. Just scored a hat-trick for Watford today. There you go. Didn't see too much of him up here.
That's an understatement.
Potentially a big day in the Championship, because if Livy remains a draw and Falkirk will win, no shock there, 6 points clear.
Yeah,
it would be at this stage in the season, would be a nice cushion to have. Good chance St Mirren in the end. Mikael Mandron about 16 yards out, good control, but then blazes it over the bar. I wonder if that's the chance gone.
Well, it's coming up to 10 to 5, so another 10 minutes still to go, because we usually finish these games at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, not much drama though, has there, on that one?
That's like the Wednesday night epic we decided to stay on late.
Oh, how was it, Gordon?
On
was
late, obviously, because of the the Aberdeen Rangers game, and it kicked off at 8, and especially VAR. The game itself probably won't even be finished by 10. So we'll need to stay on till 11. And it was wonderful.
Bad shift, that one.
No, I enjoyed it.
How did you get home? You alright?
Producer John.
Oh,
right. Marvin Bartley was panicking. He thought he had to take him. He's never heard of Bears Den. He didn't know what it was.
He claimed never to have heard of Bears Den.
Come on. The circles he moves in, he must have heard of Bears Den.
He lives in the East though. Remember. Played in the East, lives in the East, from down south. I can almost believe it. I'm not sure though.
First chance I get, I'm going to do him in.
I would lie to avoid taking you home as well. Full time in that Falkirk Morton game. Let's count them up, David Friel.
Yeah, Gordon, full time, I'll count them up. Falkirk 6, Morton 0. Really impressive stuff from Falkirk. Barring a late Livingston winner against Queen's Park, they will move 6 points clear at the top of the Championship. They scored 6, they could have had more. This was a total mismatch in reality. Morton, they are in the middle of an injury crisis, but they were outclassed by a Falkirk team who really did show why they are promotion favourites. It wasn't just the goals, it's the way they move the ball about, the work rate they showed. John McGlynn, what a job he's done. He's built a really strong team here, and they are going to take some stopping. Keelan Adams, one of the standouts at right back, he headed Falkirk ahead 16 minutes, won a free kick in the right and was in the box to head in Calvin Miller's delivery. Ethan Ross added a deserved second in 37 minutes, finishing off another Calvin Miller cross. You wondered if there'd be a response from Morton at the start of the second half. Instead, Falkirk scored 3 goals in 9 minutes. Jack Baird fouled Gary Oliver in the first attack of the half. Brad Spencer converted the penalty. Oliver then getting in the act himself in 52 minutes, turning really neatly to fire into the bottom corner, and then just 2 minutes later it was 5-0. Luke Graham picked out Calvin Miller. He still had a lot of work to do, but he stooped to head into the bottom corner. Morton were all over the place. Kurt Broadfoot, veteran defender, he was subbed after that goal. He didn't look too happy with Dougie Emery. Dougie Emery didn't look too happy with him either. They had a few words together. I think it did get ironed out. Falkirk took their foot off the gas after that, but there was still time for a 6th goal. 82 minutes. Brad Spencer, he was outstanding as well, curled in a cracker from the edge of the box. Bad day at the office for Morton, but Falkirk are flying at the top of the table. Full time, Falkirk 6, Morton 0.
An incredible result, and they really are leading the way, Hugh Keevins. I don't think anyone was doubting they were the real deal in the Championship anyway. But the longer this goes on, it's becoming abundantly clear that are they edging into big favourites for the league category?
It's a double-edged sword today. Clearly there's something not right at Morton. Talking about Kip Broadfoot having an argument with his manager Dougie Imrie when he was subbed. But the other side of that coin is that Falkirk do have goals in them, do have consistency on their side, are a rolling story, and the league is starting to fall into place for them because Livy lose badly midweek. Livy look like dropping another 2 points today. Ayr United are turned over by Wraith Rovers last night, and there's nobody looking as if they can do what Falkirk do, which is win and win consistently. So at this stage they look to be legitimate promotion candidates.
Oh, without doubt for me. And I keep going back to it, seeing them first hand and see how they play and seeing other teams in that league. I think they're far away ahead any of them, and today's result I think just makes that even clearer in my opinion. Regardless if Morton have got problems or not, you still need to go out there and stick to your principles, and that's what's got them the resounding victory today. And I think there'll be a few more of them, by the way, across the season. So firm favourites for me now to win that league.
They play total football, don't they? They're a great watch. He's a good manager, good experienced man, good way of playing. The assistant manager Paul Smith, I know Paul very well. The two of them just work brilliant together, and their team are showing everybody how it's done in the Championship, and they look unstoppable just now.
Yes, very well done to Falkirk. 6-0 victory against Morton. We're in the very late stages in our Premiership games. If we get a goal in Paisley, it will be the winner, you'd have to imagine. And of course an interesting game at McDermott Park. If we get a goal there, well, it will be the hosts trying to equalise. Let's try and go to Fraser where it's finished in Paisley.
Yeah, sadly we didn't get a goal. Gordon St Mirren 0, Ross County 0. Not a game that will live in fans' memories. It was a poor 90 minutes. Neither side can really lay a claim to have actually won the game. Too many long balls, too many stray passes. Neither keeper really tested, and the only talking point in a very poor first 45 was a missed St Mirren penalty in 35 minutes. Ross Laidlaw grabbed a Scott Tanser corner, and after the game swung to the other end. Ref Don Robertson was sent to the screen by VAR John Beaton. Don Robertson gave the penalty, booked Eli Campbell for a tug on Marcus Fraser. Greg Kiltie stepped up to take the penalty. A poor effort, no power, side foot down the middle, saved by Laidlaw with his legs. Looked for better in the second half, and it wasn't much better, and it looked from the off that one goal was going to win it. Someone made a rash of changes. McMenamin, Ayunga, then on came Mandron and Idowu in an effort to win the game in the first hour. Ayunga almost made a good right impact. The header was well saved by Laidlaw, diving to his right. Ross County then had the first spell of pressure in the game and a really good chance when captain Conor Randall latched onto a loose ball. Edge of the box, he's inches wide with a side foot from the 18 yards with Balcom scrambling. But all in all, still a struggle for both sides. No fluency to the game. Ronan Hale came on, his cross shot was touched away from danger by Balcom. Then in 88 minutes, probably the best chance that man had other than the penalty from Mikael Mandron. He controlled a Roland Idowu cross inside the box really well. He's a lovely touch. The ball sat up nicely for him, but he blazed well over from 16 yards. But to be honest with you, it was a game where neither team deserved to win the game, and that was it. Better point for Ross County, you have to say. Don Cowie will got the U9 happy, but St Mirren will rue that penalty chance and the opportunity to go into the top six. Full time in Paisley, St Mirren 0, Ross County 0.
Not a classic, that's fine. We move on. It could be an important point come the end of the season. Who knows? So I would ask for your reaction. Is there much to say? Give it a bash.
The only thing to say is that it keeps St Mirren and Ross County for that matter in an upward direction, while Dundee struggle. Hibs are certainly struggling. They're bottom, and they've got a big afternoon against Dundee United tomorrow. Hearts next game, Rangers at Ibrox. We'll find out what Neil Critchley's made of then.
At that point, put St Mirren in the top six on goal difference, just ahead of Kilmarnock. But you could argue, stating the obvious, better result for Ross County on the road. So not much to say about a fixture like that, is it?
Missed penalties, that's going to be the big moment. Greg Kiltie.
Yeah, if I'm Ross County, I'm happy. If I'm St Mirren, I'm a bit disappointed. You're at home, You just come off the back of a terrific result midweek against St Johnstone after going a goal behind. They get a good opportunity in the first half with the penalty kick. They don't take that, and then it just ends up a 0-0. So if I'm Ross County, I'd probably be the happier of the managers.
Still waiting, I think, on that full-time picture from Roger Hannah. 7 minutes it was added on, so we're nearly there. I know it is 5-5, but that is the way of it in the VAR era. Full times going in all around the country. Darren Young's first game as Clyde manager, 2-2 against Bonnyrigg Rose. 4-goal thriller there.
He was settled for that.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Home
game though.
Yeah, but
you need to pick up points, you.
I know, but
I know it's a point, but you need to pick up 3 points at home.
They're nomads, and no ground of their own. Just claw away every Saturday, claw a point here, claw a point there. And that's how they survived last season, the final day at Elgin, and it looks like more of the same.
Still not quite done in Perth, but as soon as we do, we're going to hear from Roger. We'll round that off, and then it really is over to you, Celtic fans and Aberdeen fans. Call us right now, let's get the calls lined up. Look ahead to the game. You've heard the team news. Has Brendan Rodgers picked the right team for you, Celtic fans? What do you make of Liam Scales, who's been an ever-present really, being left out of a League Cup semi-final? Is that the right decision? Is it the right decision to play Alex Valle instead of Greg Taylor at left back? All your pre-match thoughts, and let's get a full time now from Perth. Roger.
It's finished. St Johnstone 1, Hearts 2. Hearts are up to 11th. They're just a point behind the Saints, and most importantly for the Jambos fans heading out away to my left from McDermott Park, they have put Hibernia in rock bottom of the Premiership tonight. They led after 23 minutes, really in fortuitous circumstances. Gordon Blair Spittle swung in a corner from the left. St Johnstone captain Nicky Clark went up to try and head clear it, glanced off the top of his head and flew past young goalkeeper Ross Sinclair just inside the far post. The Jambos probably merited that lead at the break. Simo Valakari's response was to withdraw young keeper Sinclair and send on Josh Ray for the second half. They were transformed after the break. Jason Holt hit the crossbar against his old side, and they got level in 68 minutes in controversial fashion. There was a ball into the box from the right hand side. It reached Adama Sidibe at the back post. It was cleared for a corner. Saints were ready to take the corner, but referee Chris Graham had got instructions from VAR official Alan Muir to stop the game. He sent him to the pitch side monitor. There had clearly been some variety of foul as the ball was initially played into the box. Hard substitute Cammy Devlin it was who ended up with a yellow card, although mystery still surrounds the exact nature of the foul. Clark wasn't bothered. He stepped forward. He sent Craig Gordon the wrong way from the penalty spot for 1-1. At that stage you would have sworn Simo Valakari said would have gone on and won the game, but Neil Critchley, the new Jambos boss, made changes. On came Kenneth Vargas, and the Costa Rican substitute proved the match winner in 76 minutes. Benny Beningame, who was excellent throughout in the middle of the park for the Jambos, fed a lovely little angled ball inside the box. He found Vargas, who lifted a delicate finish over substitute goalkeeper Ray and inside the far post for 2-1. St Johnstone threw everything they could at it to try and get an equaliser. In 7 minutes of stoppage time, sub-goalkeeper Ray even came up for a corner, but it closest they were to a goal in the closing stages was Vargas again going close. This could be a huge lift-off for Hearts ahead of European football against Heidenheim on Thursday, and then back-to-back clashes with the Old Firm. It's finished in Perth. St Johnstone 1, Hearts 2.
Well, that's the 3 o'clock games done. It's over to the League Cup semi-final at Hampden at 5:30. Celtic against Aberdeen. So give us a call right now. Celtic fans, is it the right team that's been picked? Liam Scales is not in. Right decision or not? Alex Valle preferred to Greg Taylor at left back. Right decision or not for you? Any other thoughts ahead of the game? I take it most Celtic fans will be feeling confident, or do you lean into the fact that Aberdeen pegged you back from half-time at Celtic Park, took you to penalties at Hampden last season? Are you feeling a bit more nervous ahead of this one? And you Rangers fans, a new day, but the same thoughts I would imagine. Philippe Clement, where is he now? How do you feel about your team going forward? Do you expect him to do anything tomorrow? And then you Motherwell fans, does this all put some sort of extra pressure on? Everyone telling you that all of a sudden Rangers are there for the taking, when the reality is they will still be big favourites, I would imagine. So give us a call, 01419511025, and we'll speak next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Building up to kick off in the League Cup semi-final at Hampden. Looking forward to that, and the phone lines are open, so give us a call right now on 01419511025. All your pre-match thoughts please, and then tomorrow pre-match thoughts ahead of that as well. Give us a call. Let's go back to Hampden and just set the scene once more with Gabriel.
Yes, Gordon, atmosphere building here at the National Stadium. Less than half an hour till kick-off between these two unbeaten sides in Scotland this season. Aberdeen, can you remember a time they will have come to Hampden and been as confident as winning as today against Celtic? Their record here against the Hoops is just so poor. They've lost 9 Hampden meetings with Celtic since they last beat them 32 years ago. Owen Jess, the goal scorer that day. But you just think maybe there's something different about this Aberdeen team. We saw them 2 weeks ago against Celtic at Celtic Park. They were 2-0 down, and so many times sides would just fold there and try and stop conceding goals. They changed it, they went attacking, and they got the game back to 2-2. They beat Rangers 2-1 on Wednesday night, and they are here to stay, it seems, with Celtic. But of course, Celtic are imperious at the National Stadium. Brendan Rodgers won 11 out of 11 here as a manager, and it looks like they've got their full strength 11 out, perhaps for the first time this season. Captain Callum McGregor's returned to the lineup. A record signing Arne Engels is in midfield, and Cameron Carter-Vickers partners Austin Trusty at centre half. Gordon, cannot wait for kick-off, and it's not long to go now.
Yeah, it has all the makings of a fantastic game. I'm just looking at the Celtic subs bench. Ida there, Scales is there, of course, Taylor's there, Forrest, the old veteran if things are not going well. But that's a strong Celtic side. And as I say, with regard to Scales, you pay £6 million to buy Trusty. Is it such a surprise that he gets a game? And especially in partnership with his fellow US internationalist Cameron Carter-Vickers. So I think Brendan Rodgers believes in that partnership, and this is a perfect time to find out, because this is the other best team in Scotland apart from Celtic that they're playing.
It surely can still go down as a slight surprise though, because of who he replaces. Celtic paid $9 million for Adam Ida, but you'd be shocked if he started a cup final ahead of Kyogo.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
So it's not all. I know what you're saying, but it's just more to do with the fact that if this is a sign of what's to come, if all of a sudden Liam Scales goes from playing every big game to now being second choice, it would be a bit of a surprise, no?
As I say, I think what happened in Atalanta greatly impressed Brendan Rodgers, and I also have to say that yes, he's a very, very popular player with the Celtic supporters, Liam Scales, but it's not as if he doesn't have a mistake in him.
Let's find out what Robbie on the phone lines thinks. Happy with the Celtic team today, Robbie?
Good evening, panel. Yes, I'm quite happy with the team. I think that the left-sided, obviously Carter-Vickers was always going to start, but I just think that Trusty and Scales is a bit a coin flip for me. I think the sample size with Trusty is obviously a smaller sample size than what it is with Scales. And see, the thing about Scales, it's not as if he's been dropped as such for bad performances or mistakes or anything recent that he's been doing wrong. I just think that Hugh's probably right. I think that he's just wanting to try this one out, especially with Trusty's performance in away to Atlanta, and just through the last 2 or 3 games he's really came on to again, because if you mind right, when he actually initially came into the team there was a mistake in him and he looked a wee bit dodgy, but I mean that was always going to be a bit of a coin flip for me. I think that he's the only gamble it is with me is the sample size with Trusty is smaller than it is with Scales. Another thing about Scales is, see, when it comes to these type of games, semi-finals, back to the wall, last 20 minutes trying to hold it out, Rangers games at Ibrox, actually the big games, he really shows up in the big games, so he's really been unfortunate. And into the midfield, I was actually, it's just about Luke McCowan that he's cup tied, but if he wasn't cup tied, I would actually have played him in this game. This would have been a great game for him to start. Understand that there's big guns in front of him with big price tags and stuff like that, but actually, if he wasn't cup tied, I would actually went McGregor, Engels and McCowan, and I think the front three picks itself. That was always going to be Maeda, Kuhn and Kyogo. I think that really does. I don't think the panel would disagree with that front three. That was always going to be a stick on if everybody was fit.
Yeah, for me, that would always be my front three. I think they've missed Kuhn in recent games. And here again, we have a player who, when he came in at first, you thought he is struggling in a Celtic jersey, but he has become a very, very important Celtic player. I know that Kyogo this season has had some horrific misses, none more so than the one against Dundee in midweek, but for me the movement is everything. And with Kuhn and Maeda either side of him, you believe there's a goal in Kyogo, and he also loves Hampden. So for me, that the front three, unarguable.
I get what Robbie's saying about Luke McCown. Okay, he's obviously cup tied today, but if you look at that Celtic midfield, you wouldn't leave out Hatate today. You would probably look at Bernardo as well. Terrific player, and I think Luke McCown has grown into a good Celtic player. I've got to say, he's been excellent. I'm looking at that back line today. I don't know if it's because Trustees maybe get that little bit more pace. You know, you look at Aberdeen's front three. You look at their first goal at Celtic Park when McGrath plays that magnificent ball round about Scales. I don't think that's Scales' fault. I just think that's down to pure quality. Shawclair gets away and ends up putting it in the back of the net. I totally agree. I think it was a flip of a coin because Scales can hold his head up high. He's been absolutely brilliant. Robbie makes a great point about the big games. You know, when he's asked to go out there and perform the big games, he always turns up Scales. But I just look at Aberdeen's front lot. I think they'll try and turn Celtic, and maybe Brendan Rodgers has just looked for that extra little bit of pace.
I'd have to agree with that. With Daz spot on there. I think sometimes it's to do with the opposition, what you're playing against. I think Brendan Rodgers would have known Soccer was going to start. A big physical specimen, can run as well, and maybe that's why he's went trusty. But I agree with both Hugh and us and Robbie as well. Scales has done nothing wrong. It's just one of these instances that Brendan Rodgers is in a strong position with a very good squad. He can chop and change, and I wouldn't be surprised if Celtic won this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Scales was in a couple of weeks and Trusty maybe sits out a few games, the same as Ida and Kyogo at the other end.
Look, Celtic going to every game domestically as big favourites. Robbie, we saw what happened second half at Celtic Park a few weeks ago. Even last season, very different circumstances, but the game between the sides in the cup went to penalties. What chance do you give this of being a really sort of tough evening for your team?
The thing that I like about Aberdeen, and I think the panel will agree with this 100%, is see like possession stats, shots on goal and all that sort of stuff. See if you can only get I think Celtic possession wise at Celtic Park were well ahead of Aberdeen, you know, with possession and stuff like that. But the bottom line is this: the panel ken this. It's all about putting the ball in the net. If you can get 25-30% possession against Celtic, but you win the game or you take it in extra time, that just tells you everything you need to know. It'll just show that I actually think it'll probably happen. If Aberdeen win this game, it'll not be all about the 15, 16 shots on target or even just on goal and all these chances that are going to get. But the thing about them is, and they've proved it at Celtic Park, when they get chances and when they can hit on the counter, they can be very effective. So even possession, a lot of possession starts or when it's played along the back, your back three anyway, when you're not really in the last third and stuff like that. And a lot of teams allow other teams to have the ball. Just have the ball, we'll drop off you and just have the ball. So it's actually some percentage stats are actually intentional anyway, if you know what I mean. Just sit off the team and Carter Vickers can have it. But once he's trying to hurt us, that's when we'll try to get the ball off you. So Aberdeen, I wouldn't look too much into it if they've not got much of the ball. I just think that I'm quite concerned that even if they're meaning to chase the game, the guy Talleen can bring on good subs and he goes for it. If Celtic are winning 1-0 with 20 minutes to go, this is going to be an exciting game, trust me, because Celtic will try for a second and they'll be trying to equalise. So expect a good game, guys. I think Celtic will edge it, but not by much.
I go back to the league meeting of the two teams, and I remember what Brendan Rodgers said post-match. Celtic lacked aggression. They were passive. They had a first half where we thought Aberdeen's bubble had burst. 2-0 Celtic, and they could have been more. Second half, Celtic just had one of those days one half good, the other half mediocre. No aggression, passive, as the manager said. If Celtic have the kind of first half that they had then in the league match, in this cup tie tonight, that's why I lean towards Celtic.
I wonder, all of the stuff that Aberdeen have done, Mark and Gordon, how impressive it is. I wonder if they've even managed to sort of come up with a solution for the psychological challenge that you face, right? Because quite often people would say, well, you're going to Hampden in a cup game, let's say Celtic do take a lead, or let's say Celtic are dominant early on, that that's you're done for, sort of thing. But Aberdeen, I wonder if they've shown that bit of it already because of what they did at Celtic Park.
100%, and they got great belief from that. I think we all looked at their fixtures, Gordon. We looked at the big four fixtures that was coming up. Celtic Park, Dundee United at home, Rangers at home, and Hampden tonight. And you've got to say they've passed those fixtures with flying colours. Celtic Park, they showed great character. He made the substitutions. It'll be interesting to see how he starts tonight, because it's okay if you're 2-0 down at Celtic Park, you make forward substitutions, you have to get back into the game, you have to risk to get reward, and he certainly got that. You just wonder if he'll do the same, or he'll keep it nice and tight, because he has got players up top that can hurt Celtic given the right quality. But I think they've been a breath of fresh air. I think that I totally agree with Robbie. I think this will be a real entertaining game tonight. But I've just got this feeling, especially with Celtic, the way they are at Hampden. Kyogo usually steps up and scores here. The middle of the park, the pace that they've got in the wide areas. I just think Celtic will have too much for them tonight.
Yeah, with Aberdeen psychological, I mean, of course Celtic Park helps you, because it sits right beside your body of work to say we're kind of completing the package here. So there's no doubt, I think the Aberdeen fans are a huge part of it, because it was a huge part on Wednesday night, and the city of Aberdeen is thriving and alive, backing the team just now. If they do go behind in this game, the fan base understands, that this is a different Aberdeen side. They can hang in there. But look, that game at Celtic Park as well, when we go back to it, could have went a different way as well if Celtic had taken one or two of their other chances in the first half, and you could have been dead and buried. But circumstance in football, it didn't happen, and they proved that they've got the metal to stick with Celtic. That's what makes this one so interesting tonight at neutral venue.
Yeah, of course, we're previewing this game. We're nodding to tomorrow as well. It's a strange Saturday night kick-off time. So let's thank Robbie and bring in Ethan, who's a Motherwell fan. What do you think about tomorrow, Ethan?
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi there. So I was just talking there. It was for Motherwell obviously playing Rangers tomorrow. I think it's a great opportunity for us, and I think we're actually, as a side now, I think we're really confident. And I don't think a lot of the bigger clubs like Celtic and Rangers know how much a big deal it is for the teams like Aberdeen and Motherwell to get these chances. And I'm really confident that we'll actually beat Rangers tomorrow. I know that might annoy a couple of people, but the thing that stood out to me most was a 17-year-old boy walking us onto the pitch, Lennon Miller. I think that's good for Scottish football, showing that youth should be brought a chance and should be given that chance.
Yeah, it sounds really pernickety. He's 18, just for the accuracy purpose, but the logic clearly...
He's old then.
He's old, but the logic obviously stands, Hugh. It is going to be one of the stories. Lennon Miller will lead Motherwell out. It's been announced in advance.
Yeah.
It is just another feather in his cap, isn't it?
Very touching. I read this morning he went back, gathered his younger brothers and his dad, and broke the news to them, and apparently it was a very emotional moment, tears shed. So it's a very big thing for the Miller family. I remember many years ago Sir Alec Ferguson making Tony Fitzpatrick his captain at St Mirren when he was 17. Tony was genuinely 17 and went on to have a terrific career. I think it obviously shows that Motherwell are short of bodies because Stephen O'Donnell and Paul McGinn are out. So that's not a good thing. It's a very good thing for Lennon Miller, far and away the best young player in the country. It should lift his level of performance even higher tomorrow. But Ethan says that he doesn't think that Celtic and Rangers are aware of how much it means to the smaller clubs. I disagree. They know, and that's what always makes them dangerous. And I also understand Ethan's confidence because even the Rangers supporters, in the vast majority, have declared that they have no faith in their own manager.
You won't get a better chance tomorrow here for Motherwell. You will not be set up with a better chance. I still believe Rangers are favourites to win the game, right? But you're getting in against a team that their manager has come under severe pressure. Their players are getting it in the neck, left, right and centre. Rightly so, not from us, from the Rangers fans. Now Motherwell, they're in decent form. They're sitting there, they've started the season brilliantly. I love the fact that young Miller's been given the captaincy, because he's shown it on the pitch. He's leading by example. He's not playing like an 18-year-old player. He's playing like a mature player. He's been absolutely brilliant. He was unlucky not to score against Celtic last week, and then obviously Celtic took a grip of the game, deservedly won it. But I just believe that if Motherwell are ever going to get to this cup final, tomorrow they will not get a better chance.
Just still, Ethan, obviously Rangers are in a bad place. I mean, are they still, do you still feel the Motherwell are underdogs, big underdogs? How would you sum it up?
Well, I actually do feel like Rangers do have a good chance, and something I've always kind of thought about Rangers was they win the games they shouldn't win, and also they lose the games that they should win. So I don't know, that kind of contradict. I don't know, it's going to be a close one, I think. But the thing you were saying also about we've got a couple of players short, I don't know on that. Actually, I think that's quite good, because we've got quite a lot of loans and stuff like that, and I feel like we've got a lot more talent on the bench prior. So I think it'll be giving our manager to play the players, man. I think it'll give a shock, because it's players that nobody's really saw, and after a couple of games, playing on for a couple of minutes, I go to every game, I can see how much more talented and more, they've just get more confidence on the ball, and they've played against bigger clubs because they've came from loan teams. So I think it'll be good tomorrow.
I mean, I love Ethan's confidence, and he's right that every player that isn't available presents a nice opportunity to someone that is. But let's be clear, Stuart Kettlewell would like to go into a cup semi-final against Rangers with Paul McGinn and Stephen O'Donnell available.
100%. Experience, especially tomorrow, buys a lot. They've got the youth, they've got Miller in there in the middle of the park. If they two were available tomorrow, let me tell you, they'd be playing simple and straightforward. They make Motherwell a stronger side, especially McGinty's been terrific, gives them that extra bit of pace at the back. But they're not, and as you quite rightly say, Gordon, sometimes they could be a hero out there just waiting to be unveiled. And hopefully for Motherwell supporters, it'll be claret and amber tomorrow.
I think the environment comes into it tomorrow. When Motherwell played Rangers at Hampden earlier in the season, the Rangers fans were still trying to come to terms with a refurbishment at Ibrox that had gone horribly wrong. The club forced to rent Hampden. The crowd was down in numbers. The atmosphere was down as well. And Proper got the own goal for Motherwell, and the whole afternoon was mundane. But I think tomorrow the Rangers fans are there in last chance mood. This is your last chance, Philippe. If Rangers should lose this game, we don't want to see you anywhere near our club. That would be the general feeling. So I think there'll be more spice about the game. It's a cup semi-final, obviously, but there'll just be more spice about that game than the league match between the clubs earlier in the season.
I just feel like Mark are not trying to just deliberately counter Ethan's huge optimism by being really negative, but I think a sort of side product of Rangers and Celtic as examples getting all the publicity when it comes to anything, when it comes to the good things they do get exaggerated loads, and the bad things they do get exaggerated loads, but even something like that, bearing in mind obviously the smaller team has fewer resources and therefore it's harder for them when they've got injuries. Paul McGinn and Stephen O'Donnell, I'm trying to think of the equivalent. I mean, it's a terrible example because Celtic have all that backup, but if Celtic went into one of their biggest games and it was no Alistair Johnston and no Carter Vickers, we'd make a big song and dance about it.
Yeah,
because obviously when it's a smaller team, you're supposed to just get on with it.
Yeah,
even though it's harder for them, as I say.
Exactly, because they find it harder to replace them. They've now got that, the biggest squad.
And by the way, sorry,
just
players. Quickly, I only picked Celtic as an example because right now someone would say, losing James Tavernier's not a problem.
Rangers fans would be happy to mix up any of their back four, and Philippe Clement for that matter, I think, at the minute. But you're right, Motherwell do have a tough job replacing those two, and they've done incredibly well with the injuries that Stuart Kettlewell have been dealt over the season. They're in a good place, Motherwell, at the minute. I know they had a disappointing result a couple of weeks ago against Dundee at home, but apart from that, they look good, they look dangerous, and it's a decent chance for them. But we've got to remember, Rangers still very good players, and again they will be favourites going into it, but they need to get their act together. And the players, by the way, the Rangers players, that's the thing, whatever the fans think of Clement and the criticism comes his way, the players feel it as well. They've got a point to prove, and sometimes that can galvanise a dressing room just as much as destroy it. So if Rangers players get their heads together and get their act together, Rangers will win that game.
And the thought of that baby that was kicking around when you and Lee Miller were at Dundee United,
incredible,
captaining the team into the cup semi, did that make you feel old? Or you feeling like Hugh Keevins?
It does, because we were in our pomp at that time running about, and now I can hardly walk with this knee of mine, and he's captain. I mean, unbelievable achievement for the young man.
Wasn't it? He was born when you were at Dundee United.
So him and young Jacob were kicking a bit sometimes together. Took different paths, but congratulations to a young man. He's an incredible player.
Yeah, incredible. Right, thanks to Ethan. A very optimistic look at things ahead of Motherwell and Rangers tomorrow. We've got a big game pretty much upon us, Celtic and Aberdeen. It is the first of the League Cup semi-finals, and kick-off at Hampden is coming next.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Minutes away from kick-off at the National Stadium, Celtic against Aberdeen. It is a huge League Cup semi-final against the two informed teams in the Premiership. Let's go back there and speak to Gabriel.
Gordon, what an atmosphere it is inside the National Stadium. Night has fallen, the light show is on, the flamethrowers are going. Cannot wait for this to kick off. Certainly more Celtic fans in here, but the Aberdeen section making plenty of noise, and you can understand why. So much hype for this one. Scotland's best two teams this season, both unbeaten domestically, meeting on the biggest stage. 15 wins from 16 for Jimmy Tillian, a start that not one Aberdeen supporter in here could have dreamed of when he arrived in the summer. The Swede was talking on Thursday. He was focusing on the strong belief that's been instilled in his team, and you can't question that. They've not been beaten yet, and it is November. Tillian said the last meeting a few weeks ago has no reference tonight. He expects a totally new dynamic here in the League Cup. We'll have to wait and see. You can hear the roars from the supporters, Gordon. That's because captains Graham Shinnie and Callum McGregor are leading the teams out to the pitch. The Celtic end alight with red flares. Smoke bellowing all over the stadium now, and red flares in the Aberdeen end as well. Brendan Rodgers was speaking to him yesterday. He said that competition from a resurgent Aberdeen will inspire his own side to improve as they push them in several competitions. We know that Celtic and Rodgers' record here at Hampden is nearly flawless, that Ons would love to change the narrative between these two. And will it have a knock-on effect in the league as well? That's something we'll discuss after the game. But we are in the here and now. Let's go through the team news again, just as the two sides shake hands before kick-off. Brendan Rodgers makes 6 changes from Wednesday night's win over Dundee. Captain Callum McGregor is the biggest name to return to the team. So it's Schmeichel in goal, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Trusty and Baye at the back. McGregor, Hatate and Engels in midfield. Kun Kyogo and Maida up top. Jimmy Tillian sticks with the 11 that beat Rangers 2-1 on Wednesday night. That's Mitov in goal, Devlin, Rubezic, Malloy and McKenzie is the back four. Shinnie, Heltner, Nilsson and McGrath at the midfield, with Keskinen, Duke and Sokler up top. These teams have met 3 times in 2024. The scores: 1-1, 3-3, 2-2. What will happen in the 4th and final meeting of the year, Gordon? The two captains, McGregor and Shinnie, shaking hands. We are moments away from kick-off here at Hampden. Celtic against Aberdeen. It's coming right up.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
And there we are then. It's been given a big build-up, and deservedly so. How is it going to go, Hugh Keevins? You are the man that thought Aberdeen would lose comfortably during the week. It didn't happen. How will they do today?
Aberdeen will lose narrowly. Celtic will win 2-1.
Oh, I was going to go close to that, but I'll go 2-0 Celtic.
3-1 Celtic.
All in 90 minutes. No dramas. No
90
long
minutes
night
for me.
3-1 Celtic.
No
on
long
90.
night for Gabriel, and
90.
I think he's He's squeezed in there in the press box alongside our colleague from Northstown, Dave Galloway.
Dave will have some snacks for him, no doubt.
Yeah, he'll have more snacks.
So no dramas, no long night for him. Okay,
no,
I don't think so.
Right, well, we'll see how these early stages.
On the one hand, it's a wonderful psychological gesture on the part of Jimmy Tilleen. They played against Rangers, they beat Rangers, they started that match, they can start against Celtic now. It is the definition of positivity. But in the beating of Rangers, there were tremendous physical exertions contained within that match. And how much will it affect them?
As usual, there'll be pyrotechnics at the start, which means if you're watching on TV, you won't be able to see the opening exchanges. Worth bearing in mind, it never looks as bad in the stadium. That's why the game probably will kick off. And you're thinking, how can this go ahead? But it's much worse on TV. Although I think there is a short delay anyway. But Kevin Clancy will get things underway, and then it's down to the business for both sides, Gordon.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Aberdeen adapt to this game tonight. It was okay in the second half at Celtic Park. They had nothing to lose. The game was away from them. They come out, they were very attacking. To be fair to Celtic in the first half, they should have seen the game really beyond Aberdeen. They had enough chances, but they didn't do it, and they didn't kill them off, and Aberdeen showed great character. But interesting to see if they go and press Celtic high up the pitch and try and sort of cause them a few problems. But you would imagine Celtic will dominate most of the ball, especially early on.
I'd agree with that, but the danger is that Aberdeen, we're chatting about earlier, have pace and have willing runners forward. Players want to get into the opposition half and box. The camera was just trained on Nicky Devlin there. You've seen his part. Well, he scores the first goal and he's part in the second goal as well. It's not a coincidence he's there. It's part of his game. So as much as Celtic will have possession of the ball, if they lose it, Aberdeen very quick to go forward, and that's where Jimmy Thielen will hope he'll get most of his joy this evening. I mean, just looking at this just now, the players must hate this.
Yeah.
It's alright saying about colour and pyrotechnics in the crowd and that. When you're charged up, and we saw the camera on Graeme Shinnie and we saw it on Cal McGregor, focused, tuned in, ready to go, and they still have to wait 5 minutes once they're out on the pitch to start. I wouldn't enjoy that myself if I was a player.
It clearly is the problem. Kevin Clancy's unwilling to kick off because they had the pyrotechnics at both ends of the ground, and it simply created a smoke hazard.
I would agree with you, Gordon. At pitch level, it must be okay. Is that from director from the TV company telling Kevin Clancy to hold back?
It's a good question. I think it'll probably be somewhere in the middle where everybody would want it cleared a bit more than this first. And it's that I was going to start banging on about the weather there, but it's that time of year, I suppose, when it hangs in the air a bit longer and all that sort of stuff.
It's such an overrated pastime for me. But
Pittodrie looked brilliant the other night.
Spectacle, yes.
Pittodrie was only one side.
No, but that's what I mean. That was like club arranged.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, just because it's club arranged, the smoke probably still behaves the same way. So
we don't look like we're getting
need a big wind, don't they? Yeah. Somebody with a big fan.
Aye.
I think, like I said, just probably a quirk of whatever it is. I don't know. Is it a particularly foggy, damp night anyway? Usually it clears by now, but it just hasn't. I think that's clearly the issue. I mean, Gabriel's there at Hampden. We've seen it before. You wait a minute, it kind of lifts.
We're waiting 4 minutes here.
That's it's not like there's more pyro. It's just no going anywhere for whatever reason. I think you're right. If you get a leaf blower out, give one each.
That's it. Everybody get one of those.
I agree with you, Mark. He's a player. You're standing there, your prep's done, you've come out, you want to get going here.
How's the smoke? Gabriel enjoying it?
Yeah, Gordon, being made to wait. It's just building the atmosphere in here. The two sides singing louder than they ever have done before. As you were saying, it usually clears, but I don't know if it's a particularly foggy night here in the south side of Glasgow. The smoke doesn't seem to be lifting. I know that down on pitch side you would think it would probably be playable, but it is still quite difficult to see to the other side of the pitch from up here in the press gantry, and I imagine on the cameras at home as well. Kevin Clancy just coming over to talk to the two managers, Jimmy Tillin and Brendan Rodgers, at the moment. I'm sure he's just going through explaining that we're waiting for this smoke to lift off the pitch, but it adds to just a bit of eerie effect. I mean, it was Halloween a few days ago. It's all living up to the hype here.
Gabs, tell Dave to put that cigar out. That's not helping the situation.
All we need you is to start waddling on in your chicken outfit then, if this is all about Halloween. Imagine that, they do the like major tournaments and stuff with sometimes interesting ways of delivering the match ball. Imagine he waddled on and then laid the match ball in the centre circle.
That
a
would
size
put an end to
5
Scottish
mitre
football.
right up your chicken suit.
Here we go, the yellow balls now out, and they're passing it about between each other. A nightmare situation. If you're a player,
if you're a player, yeah,
if you're a player, if you're a fan, you're probably thinking, I'm out for the night anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're an Aberdeen fan, you're probably thinking, I'm out for the weekend.
You're staying, aren't you?
Because you're not getting back up there tonight, are you?
No. That's a usual round. A row. The ScotRail trains, has that been extended tonight, or they are just in for the weekend?
They're down for the night, I think. You're not out in town tonight, are you? Either of you?
No, the days are gone.
Shug will be out. He's got an empty tonight.
Do you? We should have gone out to his and watched the second half.
I should have. Get a cargo in you.
I don't have that particular station.
Gordon's
channel.
got it. He's got all the channels. He'll be fine.
He pays for them all.
Let me guess, knowing you as I do, you have a microwaved meal currently in the microwave door already closed, already set up, and you just need to press one button.
Correct.
There we go. Get the dinner on the
and
road
wait
tonight.
till it pings.
I'll tell you what, does it make sense for us to pause and come back when this is about to kick off? Let's do it.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
I know what you're thinking. In the space of the time it took them to take a break, the game will have kicked off at Hampden. You would be wrong. We're still not there. 10 minutes after the fog or the pyro smoke or the combination, whatever, it's not visible enough. The pitch is not visible enough yet, and we're still not underway. On a serious note, Mark, as a player, how bad would this be?
Yeah, it's a nightmare situation. You think of the warm-up route, for instance, and you've done all your preparation, but then I think individually, just to focus, players go through certain routines. Once they're on the pitch, we speak about it all the time, what's the players thinking coming at the tunnel? They just want the game to get underway, especially something of this importance and how difficult a game this is going to be for both. You just want your first touch to feel your way into the game and get going. So any waiting about for a player is not ideal at all. So you just wonder how much an impact it's going to have on those individual players when the game kicks off. But not great in terms of preparation. I'm sure both managers will say that post-match, regardless of which way the result goes. And how long do you wait until something
take
actually
the players off? Yeah.
Because when do you start warming up again?
That could be next year.
Because there is a point in warm-ups. This isn't just your game of football down the pitch with your mates where you just run on and play. These guys are finely tuned athletes. They do a warm-up for a reason. There you go.
No, they're not.
To the side.
They're just doing a warm-up.
Yeah.
Sports science guys are out getting them ready.
They're the only guys that were rubbing their hands. They're thinking we're getting some TV time here. The cameras will be trained on us.
But you're right, it's not an ideal preparation. And for supporters as well in the stadium, they're there to watch the entertainment. Celtic are doing the same. Everybody's just keeping ticking over. Hopefully Kevin Clancy will get us underway very shortly. But we're now looking at 12 minutes. 12 minutes.
Certainly lifting now.
Oh yeah. I can see lesser.
The big announcement. Everybody just inhale and take a big breath. Blow it all away.
Why have they not tried that? Seriously, Scottish football should just come together and get this one up and running.
I think the guy in the earpiece just now is listening to us and just relayed that to Kevin Clancy, and we'll get underway soon.
He's now explaining things to Jimmy Tillin. Presumably he's explained it to Brendan Rodgers. He's on the park. It looks like we're in business now, but comical, farcical, ridiculous, unnecessary.
Yeah, it's cleared now. I can see Rutherglen main cross. So let's get this game going.
Fans in the stadium are enjoying it.
They're
By the
loving
looks of
it.
It's more of the TV audience that won't be quite enjoying what they're seeing, but there we go. So we eventually look like we're slowly, I'm fudging the language here, about to get back underway, but the fans are in full voice, both ends. Their teams are back in their respective halves. Jamie McGrath is standing over the ball, so things will get underway at Hampden.
Does this kind of thing suggest there might be a quirky start to the match?
Well, we've started now, we're off and running, yellow ball and play. Aberdeen just play a long hopeful ball and it goes right through to the arms of Schmeichel.
Well, there we are, we're underway. You sticking by your predictions? You've not been spooked into changing them just because we had a 13-minute delay, was it?
It's probably, if you're a visiting Aberdeen fan thinking, West of Scotland bias, but
West of Scotland fog.
Yeah,
they've got fog up there. Was it Har they call it?
The Har, that's Fife they have the Har.
For free kick of the game.
Yeah, it was actually good from Celtic because Aberdeen have shown their intentions. They press high, but Trusty doesn't panic, gives it Hatate, flicks out to Valle, he goes down the line. It's
Rubizic is your no-nonsense defender. I said it before the game that Maeda touched it round him. He's thinking, okay, the ball's past me, but you're not getting the ball. You're not getting past me either. Body checks him. So first chance for Celtic to put this into the box here from the free kick.
The big men are up. Austin Trusty, Cameron Carter Vickers. No Liam Scales today, of course. He's on the bench and he's a real threat from set pieces. As featured on last night's full-time teaser. I loved that. What a question it was.
What was it?
Oh, well, let's just wait till this corner. It's a nice training ground move from Celtic until it's not, because the pass through didn't quite get there in the end. The first bit of it worked, but Celtic were trying to carve out something imaginative. They might get another goal with Kuhn, who's played it to Hatate, well defended though, and that's going to be a free kick to Aberdeen. They'll look to clear it up the pitch. Last night, so it was for all the teams in the semi-finals, for the four of them. I'm glad it wasn't you that was on. Who is the last non-Scottish ex-player of that team to score in the Champions League? And you're looking at me the way you would have if you were on air, but once you hear the answers,
well, Motherwell's never been in the Champions League.
Well, that's no. Scott McDonald is the answer for Motherwell. You see what I mean?
Got you.
And Rangers' answer was Sima, because he scored in the Champions League this season.
Okay. I never got that.
Yeah.
Aberdeen's answer,
hold on,
was Liam Scales.
There's a lot of thinking behind that.
That was a good. There's one more.
Celtics.
Who's Celtics?
Van Dijk. He scored for Liverpool in the Champions League this season.
That's too difficult.
Nah, never. I'll tell you what.
Much working out.
Who was on last night?
Scott Allen, Cammy
Not a chance.
No chance.
Do you know the worst of it is the guy gave us the question and you had to do that for all 12 teams in the league.
Forget about it.
Anyway, that free kick up the pitch, it's just kind of going back and forward a little bit at the moment. Austin Trusty nods it down in the centre circle. Brendan Rodgers' record at Hampden, Hugh, is incredible. A lot of it. Callum McGregor, between club and country, absolutely knows this place like the back of his hand. Just in case people buy into that stuff of playing it in unfamiliar surroundings, it couldn't be further from the truth for him.
The only thing, and you're absolutely correct, Brendan Rodgers' record is overwhelming. 233 games as Celtic manager and lost 35 of them. So in other words, 198 games out of that won by Brendan Rodgers.
Well, I do wonder if the first trip to the National Stadium was a bit too exciting for Arnie Engels there, because he drove forward, he had Maeda and Kyogo, and instead he has blasted it about 20 yards over the bar.
Young man, full of ambition. But the answer to all questions now relative to Aberdeen Celtic, Jimmy Talleen, because Jimmy Talleen's never been here before. He's unaffected by the past. He doesn't know about lost semi-finals and finals, and everything he does has that touch of freshness and about it.
Well, he's got defending. His team have got defending to do early on. Mark, Celtic are very much on the front foot, albeit as we speak. Duke has done brilliantly to rampage up the pitch. And great strength as well. I wonder if maybe
Kuhn, terrific defending. Duke just goes by Alistair Johnston like he's not there with the pace.
And we don't say that very often.
No, we don't. But all credit to Kuhn. That's what his job is. Back his full back up. He gets in, reads the danger, and obviously breaks down the attack. Good play by Kuhn.
He's a different player, isn't he? Kuhn this year. I don't think he would have done that last year.
He looks like it's one thing like playing better and knowing your role in the team, and I know he had a couple of physical issues last season, but I think he looks significantly quicker.
Yeah.
Was he that quick last season?
Well, we heard about him being quick when he came to the club, and I think we all commented saying he didn't look that quick, but he obviously.
Remember the run over at Atalanta on the right hand side? I couldn't believe the turn of pace he had. I didn't think he had that in his locker, but he's a completely different player. He's been terrific for Celtic so far this season.
It's a fascinating start. Aberdeen trying to play it, sticking to their game plan. Celtic swarming all about them, and it's what I liked about Aberdeen Wednesday night as well. They kept their composure. They try to move the ball, try to drag Rangers in at times, and they're doing the same here at Celtic. And they've got pace and Duke and that left side that they've tried to release a couple of times, and here they come again. They've worked this well again. I would have thought that was a foul.
That looked a free kick to me, Mark.
Well, if this ends up in the back of the net, they would maybe check, because the attacking phase of play probably begins now. Not now though, because Kyogo's just passed it out the park for a throw-in.
That's poor from Kyogo.
Yeah,
he usually lights up when he comes to Hampden. He's always got a goal in him. He missed a real sitter against Dundee midweek. But that's one thing he likes doing at Hampden, scoring goals.
Just a carelessness about him in recent times that wasn't there before.
The miss the other night was an overused word in football, but verging on inexplicable, Gordon, just because the way it comes. When we see sitters, you're usually talking about balls flashed across the face, there's a bit of pace on it, they might be 2 yards out, but they lean back and it goes over the bar. But this was like, he said to just pass it anywhere on target, and he got it well wide.
For me, it was astonishing, not just that he missed it, it's how far he missed it. He never even threatened the goals, and it was a simple take for him. Like, he gets himself into great positions. I think if you give him this opportunity this afternoon, there'll only be one outcome that'll end in the back of the net.
I was going to say, this is the foggy pyro related topic reminds me of that night against Hibs, when the Hibs fans were still celebrating, and did Kyogo not go up the other end and score before they had got to the second verse of Sunshine on Leith?
Started the sentence, this could be the only goal of. And by the time I got to
a weird time that I was doing the show from my bedroom because I had COVID. Is that right? And I heard Hugh Keevins saying those words.
It doesn't sound like something he would say. And there we are, Celtic are in, but Maeda can't get contact on it, and Aberdeen fans breathe a sigh of relief. It was one of those nice pitched passes over the top. Maeda, quick as a flash in behind Nicky Devlin.
He's offside.
He would have been offside anyway.
He's offside, but it's a great run. That's just a little warning for Devlin. He's got to be prepared to know that Maeda's going to make those runs all night, so he's got to be switched on.
See, he's a fullback like that, even though he's offside, you just think, you have to keep your eye on him at all times, because if he times that better, he's obviously in goal. So it makes it so difficult for a fullback in getting your distances between you and your centre back and keeping up or dropping down. He's a nightmare to play against.
Nicky Devlin, though, now a Scotland international, back at the scene
deserved
of his triumph coming off the bench against Portugal again. Wonder if he'll be remaining in the squad on Monday. I suppose he will, because
not got full-backs, have we?
There's no Hickey or Patterson. That situation's not changed.
Couldn't think of any grounds for him not to be there.
Yeah, plus he's been even better since his inclusion.
Yeah. Yep, you'd have to imagine, but we'll wait and see. We've got big business to take care of before then, in the form of 2 League Cup semi-finals, one which is underway. And I suppose, Mark, just that sticking to the task for Aberdeen, because you can see, obviously, if there's one team that can pick through the first part of your press, it is Celtic, and they're doing that. But then it's important that if they do, then Graham Shinney's behind it to snap into a tackle on Alex Valle like he did there.
Yeah, your 2 defensive midfielders become so important, because the way Celtic play with Johnson, Valle coming right in the pitch, inverted to try and outnumber you in there, you need those 2 to be really solid. And Shinney was on the ball there with a good challenge, but he's going to have to be like that all night. They just get so many numbers in there, Celtic. They try and pop it around you and then work it wide. They're so good at it. So it's a game of chess sometimes, these games, where you just have to keep moving and being patient, and when you nick the ball, have the legs to go the other way. And you can certainly see Aberdeen have got that, but they just need to ride this spell out. Celtic comfortable in possession at the moment.
It's wonderful play from Celtic down the right, but just the touch from Alistair Johnson, he just got stuck under his feet a little bit. Was it Kuhn with the initial pass?
Yeah, great ball inside. He's a good run with Johnson. He was a bit unlucky. Listen, it's not burst into life so far. Celtic will probably be the happier, dominating most of the ball, but Aberdeen making it very difficult for them.
See the running power of Arnie Ingles, Mark. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but just going down the right, and Duke's quick and Duke's strong, but he just able to just keep shrugging him off and then just keep getting, making territory.
He looks a bit of a machine, the boy. He's young, he's still got plenty of development to come, but you can see why Celtic have signed him and why they've spent the money on him. His profile, even the one he shoots over the bar, you see our actual replay and he's just looking eyes for the goal. He doesn't even look at the pass, so you can see his intention. That's why they've brought him to the club.
Not saying it's exactly the same, but remember that straight ball through the centre halves, got Sockler the goal at Celtic Park. Yeah, look, the pass wasn't as good this time, but the other difference, Hugh, is Cameron Carter-Vickers is in about it, and those are the situations he thrives on there.
I have to say, and they haven't been put under tremendous pressure.
Celtic
coming
play
forward, a terrible ball.
He's in good goal scoring form as the right back.
Yeah,
scored in the last few games. A terrific run. He'll be disappointed with that. He gets into a good position. Should do better with the cross.
Carter Vickers and Trusty haven't been put under great pressure, but they look a natural fit. They look comfortable in each other's company.
Yeah, they complemented each other fairly well on that occasion. There'll be strong running there from Keskinen, who maybe could have drawn a foul from Austin Trusty if he'd gone down, but he's an honest attempt to stay up, and it doesn't come to anything for Aberdeen. Unfortunately for us, of course, it's Saturday night. You know what it means. It's GBX time. We very much know our place, so we're going to have to bid you farewell and let you get your party mode on for the weekend. But final thoughts, Hugh, on the early stages of this and then what's to come tomorrow, because we are back then.
Well, this is still in its infancy and we haven't had any tremendous excitement, but we know we'll get a very good game over the course of the night, whether it goes to extra time, even penalties. But tomorrow is about drama. Tomorrow is Philippe Clement's last stand. If he loses the match, there is no way he can stay at Rangers.
Well, that's what you've got to look forward to. Whatever happens in the remainder of Celtic against Aberdeen, we will reflect on it all early in tomorrow's show, because we're on at 2 o'clock and then building up to kick off at Hampden at 3 between Rangers and Motherwell. So get that reminder set. Meet us here 2 o'clock tomorrow and enjoy your Saturday in the company of the GBX.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance. With mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.